Welcome to Delta Green Impossible Landscapes, brought to you by Black Project Gaming. Get read in at blackprojectgaming.com. I'm Vince, your host and handler for this campaign. Joining me are Brett as DEA Special Agent Michael Witwer, also known as Agent Vega, Cami as FBI Special Agent Geneva Brown, also known as Agent Venus, Doug as FBI Special Agent Mark Hansom, also known as Agent Meshach, and Jack as FBI Special Agent Cassandra Troy, also known as Agent Madison. Impossible Landscapes is a campaign of wonder, horror, and conspiracy, written by Dennis Detwiller for Delta Green, the role-playing game. For more information on Delta Green, please visit delta-green.com. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. In our last session, folks, essentially you all decided to stay in the Dorchester House facility overnight to see if there was going to be any sort of change, similar to what you all experienced in the McAllister building way back in at the beginning of this campaign. And sure enough, you spent the night, and eventually you were you noticed a significant change had come over the facility, and you all were in the attire similar to patients, to incarcerated patients in this hospital. You all were made to attend a group therapy session led by the sinisterly named Dr. Maximo Friend, as well as some other individuals who were I don't believe anybody really recognized anyone off the bat, but you all were brought in, and as the therapy session went on and Dr. Friend was asking these really bizarre questions of you all, you became cognizant of this change, and all of a sudden the scene rendered itself into this strange, almost Renaissance era or medieval era throne room, where Dr. Friend was this really grandiose, noble type who was continuing to ask these very bizarre questions. But eventually the scene faded, but you all became aware of this symbol. And some of you were affected by it, some of you were not, but some of you were exposed to the yellow sign, which was hanging on these huge banners that were hanging from the ceiling of this bizarre throne room. As the therapy session came to a close, you all responded violently in some cases. I think that was precipitated by specifically Ira and I believe Jenny and something. Do you remember what happened with Jenny? Because something snapped Ira out of it, didn't it?
Yeah, he called her by her real name, Temperance, and that freaked her out.
That's right. Okay.
So she just became like she didn't become violent, but she just like refused to engage and participate.
Yeah, I became violent.
That's right.
I thought the instigator for the violence was Jack became violent, and what's his face hit Cassandra with a thing.
You were absolutely right. I apologize. Yep. Thank you for refreshing my memory. So the situation did degenerate into violence when Cassie attacked Dr. Friend. In the meantime, Jenny had been rendered almost not quite catatonic, but she was definitely out of it after Dr. Maximo Friend had called her by the name of Temperance Jane Fry, a name she hadn't heard in quite a while. That some of you recognized as being a name on one of the paintings you had seen so long ago in the McAllister building, a painting of a bottle. As the combat went on, what just left?
Brett
did. Okay. As the combat continued, multiple orderlies rushed into the room armed with billy clubs and stun guns and sedatives and quickly tried to get a grip on the situation. Eventually, things did calm down and a stalemate was reached, after which Dr. Friend asked to see Cassie individually. And Cassie was brought into this sickeningly pink room where she was strapped to a gurney, and a strange red substance was extracted from her eye via syringe by Dr. Friend. At this point, you all are still trying to get the lay of the land and figure out what exactly is going on, run into a strange man by the name of Mr. Wild, who introduces you once again to someone he refers to as King Bale. And in this case, it was the Bale you had met earlier in the day, who agrees to help you and navigate you or lead you through the facility, the labyrinth underneath the Dorchester House, to freedom. Eventually, as you all are going, you see that Bale has taken on this almost king-like appearance. There's this spectral crown hanging above his head, shining with this strange light. And he navigates you all to a theater where you watch this performance carried on by a strange childlike clown and weaving this paper dragon until finally they collapse and Bale approaches the stage and he extracts this jar from the inside of this paper dragon, and it's this jar filled with this same red fluid that was extracted from Cassie, and he tells you that the patsu is the key. He drinks it and disappears. At that exact moment, the clown seems to come back to life or some form of animation and grows substantially bigger. Ira in this case tries to engage with the clown, who touches him, and he explodes into a cloud of patsu. The rest of you begin to run, and unfortunately, Jenny also fell victim to this clown and was also exploded into this giant cloud of patsu, and she and Ira are no more. But Cassie and Mark managed to evade the clown long enough for the jar to refill, drink the patsu, and they both awoke in an abandoned house from the looks of it, still in Boston, from what they can tell. Mark, unfortunately, is covered in these weeping sores due to having been grazed by the clown, and these giant weeping patsu pustules exploded on his skin, and he still bears their mark. But he's still alive, as is Cassie. You all went down the street to a neighbor to try to get your bearings, and she immediately freaked out seeing the current state of Mark. But that is where we're going to begin, unless anybody has any questions.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can, and you sound wonderful, my friend.
Okay, does it sound better?
It sounds the same.
Oh, perfect.
Did your phone...
My phone died because I've been fucking around with it all for the last little bit and didn't pay attention to how much battery was in it. So I was
putz.
I know. I was cooking dinner in the kitchen, and I was like, what a great setup. And then it died.
Jesus Christ.
Can't change.
It never changed. Nope. Did I miss anything in that recap? Everybody get a good handle on where we're at?
Yeah, so...
I mean... Me, yes. I died. I'm good.
You did.
So Mark and I snatched up the invitation from the strange automaton.
That's right. There was. Thank you. And when we edit this, we'll make sure we plug that into the recap. I just lost my train of thought. When you all came to and regained consciousness inside that house, you did see this strange clockwork child, this automaton that Jenny had previously run into in the depths of the McAllister building, or the night floors. It bore an invitation from Abby, of all people, summoning you to it was the Hotel Broadlebin, right?
Yes.
Summoning you to the Hotel Broadlebin. And with that, I think that's where we're at. Yeah. Yeah. Find the hotel, the labyrinth, the author, his bottle. Nothing is true except out is through. Love and kisses, Abby. But before we get to Cassie and Mark and see what they're up to, Michael and Geneva, you regain consciousness inside this house. And you come to lying prostrate on the dusty wooden floors. What do you do?
That's prostrate, not
prostrate. Did I say prostate?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
I noticed that too, but I didn't want to say it.
Motherfucker. Lying prostrate. You come to
My prostate has lied to me tons of times. It's
Yep.
fine.
Fuck my life. You come to lying prostrate on the dusty hardwood floor of this abandoned house. What do you do next?
Geneva like bolts up and immediately tries to see if she has her gun on her.
She does not.
Motherfuckers.
Are you awake? What? Where? What the What's going on?
What do you remember? I remember those freaks grabbed us and jabbed me with something. What do you remember?
The same.
Great. And they took my guns. So, that's awesome.
He's going to check himself to see if he has his firearms on him, and I'm assuming to the same result.
Unfortunately, he does not.
Yeah.
Check my back pocket for my, grenade launcher that I'm assuming you gave me as well.
Oh, and I would like to say he does have a FBI standard issue. Vince can back me up on this. We all get them. Gas mask tied to his hip.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
Actually, both of you roll luck. First rolls of the game with the new characters.
That would probably work better if I was actually in roll 20. Because I was only in it on my phone.
Geneva, I will say that your backup pistol is still strapped to your ankle.
Yeah, so she like panics, then she's like, oh wait, but I have like 5 guns on me. So she checks like all of the usual spots, then she sees one on her ankle and she's like, oh. She relaxes a little bit. Takes it out, makes sure everything's loaded and ready to go.
And same with you, Michael. You still have your standard issue. You still have your standard issue pistol in the holster at the small of your back.
Whew, okay. Still, losing a gun is not good.
Yeah, well, at least they weren't thorough. She kind of tries to stand up and look around, see if I can see anything familiar about the place we're in.
So this house you have never been in before, at least not to your recollection, and your memory is still fuzzy. It's almost like you're coming out of this drug-induced sleep. Like I'm sure in your time, you've taken something potentially potent to help you sleep, and that same fog that seems to take so long to dissipate when you finally regain consciousness is kind of here now. It's present. And it's a little difficult to get your bearings, but there is nothing familiar about this place. And it is completely bare. There is no furniture. There is nothing to indicate who owns it or really anything about it without looking further.
All right, so what do we do?
Figure out where we are first. I go to like a window and I kind of like, if there's a curtain there, move it back, see if I can, like, are we in a city? Are we in a suburb? And try to like, what does the skyline look like? Is there anything familiar? Maybe not in the house, but on the street, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So you are in a residential neighborhood. It looks to be, if a suburb, it seems to be relatively close to the city. You can hear sounds of traffic. You can see parts of Boston ahead. But you are in definitely a more residential part of the city itself.
I mean, looks like Boston at least.
Well, that's somewhat of a relief. What? They seemed so... What were they trying to do? They seem so nice and accommodating. I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, they've been up to no good for a while when it comes to agents like us. We knew that.
I know, I guess I just thought it would be different.
Yeah, it really is.
Do I suck at this? Am I shitty at this job? I feel like I'm shitty at this job.
She just smiles a little bit.
He's kind of smiling too. Trying to make light of a really horrible situation.
I'm assuming like their phones aren't on them either. if she checks.
Let's roll luck for that as well.
Okay.
Ooh,
Man.
dang.
Geneva
Oh
with
man,
that
we're gonna
4.
blow some rolls later. I just know it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We're not
Gen-
making it through this session, Cami.
Geneva with that 4 and Michael with that 8. Yeah. Against all odds, you still have your cell phones on you.
Thank the Lord. I want to see like what day it is. Just like open up my phone and see what time and day it is, and if there has been any kind of time jump from what I last remember.
Okay, great question. Let me look into that for you. So it is Thursday, September 3rd. And the last day that you remember, Geneva, was, let's see here, was the 8th of July.
Shit.
You've been gone for almost 3 months. Or almost 2 months, sorry. You've been gone for almost 2 months.
Yeah, I hold up my phone and show him the date.
How long have I been gone? Same?
Same. Yeah, you and Geneva were
Oh,
snatched
okay.
at the same time.
Sweet. Well, that's alarming. What do you make of that?
That whatever they gave us was strong as hell. To see if I can get some more of that.
Geneva.
And you would know that she has trouble sleeping. So, yeah.
We didn't miss a couple of months because of a drug.
I mean, it could have been a lot of drugs simultaneously.
That's going to wipe out all memory for 2 months? I don't know
Is
about you,
that-
but I've never heard of anything like that.
Is that the craziest idea you've run across on this job so far? Because if so, then you might be right. You might not be good at this job.
I'm definitely not good at this job, and we both know that. But I don't know. I don't think it was a drug. Well, they gave us a drug, but 2 months is a long time, Geneva.
Magic, then. I guess we can sum it up to that for now until we find out more.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me feel insane that the less crazy of those two options is magic. Right? Sorcery or whatever. Whatever it is.
Yeah. The nature of the gig. I mean,
Kinda-
you saw Mosby when he came out. The idea of time being lost, but also somehow being still. That's not entirely new information to us.
No, that's true. I guess I just...
Oh, that was
we might avoid it.
that was Thelamus, Roger Thelamus.
Oh, sorry. Retcon. She said Thelmus.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't think... I don't know, I thought we would stay outside of it. Away from it, separate from it. But... I guess we're in it now. Are they going to try and kill us?
No clue. But we should plan on that being a yes, just to be safe.
Yeah. Do you think they sent a black team after us or anything like that? We've been gone a long time.
Maybe they did. Maybe we'll find a couple other suckers who got drugged into this too. I'm gonna go open the front door just to, again, kind of help get her bearings. She knows she's in Boston, but trying to figure out where exactly. So going outside.
He follows along beside her.
Yeah, Mark and Cassie, you look back as you hear a door open because you're not that far from the house. And you see two other figures that are not Ira and not Jenny standing in the doorway.
How are they dressed?
How are they
Describe
dressed?
describe their appearances.
Yeah, so Geneva, very practical. She's dressed in dark clothes. I don't know that she has like her FBI jacket or anything on her like that where you could be like, oh, FBI agent. But the way that she like stands and the way she carries herself, and you can probably just from being in the profession for a while, you could tell that she is some kind of law enforcement. But yeah, we'll say that she has like a dark sweater on, dark pants, boots. Her hair is kind of Her dark hair is kind of pulled back into a low ponytail.
Yeah. And then Michael is quite tall. Okay, if you've seen the newest Mission Impossible movie with Henry Cavill in it, he just looks like that. Tall white dude, dark brown hair. He's got a big old tash. He's wearing kind of like a trendy tash, not so much like a dad tash. And he's got like a buttoned-up shirt, kind of like gray buttoned-up shirt with a tie and slacks. If he was walking down the street, you would be like, that dude's probably a cop of some description.
And actually, Mark and Cassie, could you both roll int ×5 for me, please?
Sure, why not? What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 91 out of 85 for Cassie. See how Mark does.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out what a tash is and why I'm a gnome wizard at the same time.
A tash is a mustache.
Okay, I was thinking stash, but then I'm like, wait, it's just one letter.
I guess Canadians call it a tash and Americans call it a stash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
okay.
we for sure call it a tash up here.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Little tash. Yeah.
Yeah, we call it a stash.
Yeah, it's a stash.
I've never heard anybody call it a stash. Okay, so we're doing int ×5.
Int ×5, yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Beautiful. 90 out of 90.
Wow. That's
Right
kind
on.
of close.
Yeah. Mark, you recognize that man. And it takes you a moment and you rack your brain because you know that face. You can't remember where. And then it clicks. The McAllister building, or at least the floors above it. There was a man strapped to a gurney screaming as he was sucked into the floor.
Oh.
This is that man.
Okay. Mark will turn to Cassie and say, Do you recognize that guy?
I don't recognize either of them.
Heck yeah, I do. No. Remember that guy in the McAllister building? Gosh, it's been, 15 years now? 20?
20.
Dang, guy gone. No, that was him. He was strapped to the gurney, remember?
No, I mean, I remember seeing someone. That's him?
It does take
it couldn't be.
It does take a moment for you, Cassie, but looking at this man and hearing Mark tell you this, it clicks for you.
Yeah, there's this moment where the memories start to kind of bleed back in, and she remembers seeing that white face at the base of that abyss where the patient fell through or was sucked in. And as soon as it starts to click through her, as soon as it starts to kind of click for her and all the memories start to kind of come into focus, Cassie's going to start to walk across the street back to the house.
Go ahead and make that sanity roll for me.
Sure, why not?
Both of us?
Yup.
All right.
I also have a question for you, Vince.
Yeah.
Is the Michael, the me that they met or that they saw previously the same age as this Michael or younger?
Getting robotic, baby.
Funnily enough, yeah, same age. Yeah, Mark with a 57 out of 66. You succeed that sanity roll with, you lose nothing. Cassie with a 78 out of 31. You lose 1.
Party.
I had asked, but it'd probably be based on their SAN results, what they look like when they're coming up towards us.
There's definitely shock. And I will say, Michael, you do not look a day older from when they saw you.
Cool. Sweet. I wouldn't have any way of knowing that, but
yeah.
Which just for us was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Daggone.
And so I imagine the look on their faces, I'll let them describe it, but I would guess they look shocked.
Yeah,
I
Mark.
mean,
Mark is looking shocked and confused and suspicious all at once.
Yeah, Cassie is looking obviously shocked and confused, but strangely determined. And as this is starting to sink in, she's already started walking very quickly back towards the house.
Here we go again. Mark will follow.
Yeah, as soon as she sees that they're coming their way, and obviously Mark is still covered in, I'm assuming, that like patsu mess.
Yeah,
What looks like blood.
he's covered in its sores. Like there's sores
Sores. That's right.
on his face, on the backs of his hands. He does not look good.
I feel like Michael might draw his gun and hold it out in front of him, but not point it directly at them, and go, "That's close enough."
Yeah, can we help you?
Hey, hold on there. We're just, Cassie?
Who are you? Where did you come from?
We came from inside the house. It seems to trouble you.
Who are you?
We came from that house too, and you weren't there.
Mark.
Mm-hmm.
You blink, and suddenly you become aware of something that is decidedly not normal, but then again, nothing about the situation you find yourself in is. But Michael and Geneva, or these two newcomers who you don't recognize, who came out of the house that you yourself just emerged from, are glowing faintly with this soft yellow light. And you look over at Cassie, and she's considerably brighter.
Brighter than them or just brighter than normal?
Brighter than them.
Oh.
I feel like brighter than normal would be any amount of bright.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. That
We're
would
not
be
usually
anything.
illuminated, but yeah. Cassie is pretty pale though, so.
It's almost like how they describe, some people can see people's auras. It's kind of like that. It's this faint yellow outline, at least for the two in front of you. But Cassie, it's just, it'd be probably the closest word you could probably think of to describe it would be radiant if it wasn't so unsettling.
I'm gonna try take a look at my own hands and feet and the parts of my body I can see.
There's a little something there.
Oh.
It's actually it's very faint, like you can barely see it. Not as bright as the two newcomers, definitely not as bright as Cassie, but there's something there.
When Michael notices Mark, like, checking out of the conversation and starting to look at his hands and his feet, he's gonna snap his fingers a couple of times and go, "Hey, we're talking to you."
Do y'all see this?
See what?
Mark holds out his hand, and it's like, I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with my eyes. Maybe I got some of that stuff in it, but it looks like you're glowing, Cassie, and all of us, but you especially.
Cassandra starts to look very concerned, looking away from these two newcomers. Starts to look at her hands. Does she see this glow?
You do not.
Sorry, go ahead.
Cassandra starts to just kind of roll up her sleeves instinctively, just checking herself. Mark, I'd say you're pretty perceptive, so you do see probably as she's rolling her sleeves up and exposing her arms, you'd probably see a couple track marks. But she starts to kind of spin around, not like, in a playful way, but just sort of trying to see if anyone's coming or to see if, the land itself is starting to change at all.
Nothing. You see nothing.
Michael's gonna turn to Geneva and go, "You can hear me, right?"
I can hear you.
Okay.
And then she's gonna look back at Mark and, "Sir, you don't look well. Is there someone we can call for you?"
That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I think there's a hospital near here.
What happened to you?
I think probably for Mark hasn't really thought about this much until now, and he looks again at his hands and he sees the boils that have bursted and on his hands and all over, and he says, yeah, that's a little bit hard to explain. Quite frankly, I don't know. I was sick.
Why don't you try your best?
Somebody roll in
Look.
×5 for me.
Sure,
Okay.
I'll do it while I'm spinning around.
Cassie with a 29 out of 85. Broad daylight, folks standing out in front of a house, one with a gun out, probably going to draw some attention very shortly.
Get back in the house. We can talk about it in there.
He's got it like down by his hip, sort of, but yeah, if somebody was to look directly at him, they might see it.
Yeah.
Either of y'all know first aid?
I can maybe help you a little bit. What about you two?
Not for that. But she'll kind of like step to the side and open the door and kind of motion with her head to get in.
Michael's gonna give Geneva a look like, dude, for real?
She'll give you a look back, being like, I need to talk to you alone for a second once these two get inside.
He rolls his eyes, but he shrugs.
Yeah,
Steps to the side to make way.
Yeah, Cassandra will very gently kind of put her hand on Mark's shoulder. It's sort of like to guide him, but if it's like too painful or sensitive, she'll draw back.
Oh, sorry about this, Cassie. I almost didn't make it.
Does it hurt?
Hurts like heck. Yeah.
And as we're walking up, Cassandra will look at the young woman standing at the door. Just kind of give her a once over. Do I notice anything unremarkable or remarkable about her? Like anything out of the ordinary?
Roll alertness. Yeah, 98 out of 50. Nothing immediately. Just the thing that is standing out to you is there's a lot of information coming at you all at once. There's, the fact that you were in the Dorchester House, underneath it, and now you're here in this house, and now these two people seem to have come out of the same place that you were in. She looks federal. She looks like somebody in your line of work, but I mean, like any other agent you've worked with and however long you've been with the Bureau, but nothing that immediately comes to mind or stands out.
Shut the door behind us.
Yeah, once excuse me. Once Cassie and Mark are in, she's gonna kind of start to shut the door, not completely, but just enough to kind of give her and Michael a little bit of privacy. And then she's gonna very quietly say, whoever they are, they could be infected, they could be vectors, we need to contain them until we know more. And then she'll follow them in.
He'll give her a very brief nod.
Is there any furniture in this house? Is it furnished?
It is completely unfurnished.
Okay. Damn. I was going to try and lay a Mark on the couch. But I guess as we get in, Cassandra will take off, because we're all wearing the stuff that we were wearing before we got checked in. So we're not wearing the patient uniforms. We're wearing our regular clothing.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And yeah, she'll take off the, I think she was wearing a hoodie or a large jacket. But she'll take it off and sort of bundle it under Mark's head and kind of help him to lay down, just to sort of get him in a more comfortable place, but also start to check the wounds.
Just so I'm currently at 4 hit points, which is to review, It's not like Zero is not unconscious in this game, right?
2 is.
2 is. So I'm 2 hit points away from being in a coma.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think Mark will just let himself be led to lay down and put his head down on this pillow. Thanks.
Go on, Doug.
No, I just said thanks.
I know Cassandra's used to working on dead people. Would she be able to apply some of that knowledge to see if she would either know what this kind of wound was, or at least B, know how to kind of treat it with the bare minimum that she might have access to here?
Yeah, so with your 70 in first aid, you've never seen anything like this before. I mean, it looks almost like you've read about it in texts, like almost like a biological agent that causes blistering. And, considering how quickly it occurred and how quickly it developed on his skin. But unfortunately, without access to something like a first aid kit or some other supplies, you're really unable to really do anything for him other than make him comfortable.
Okay. Then I'm going to go, I'll like walk very briskly past the 2 newcomers and look for a kitchen. And if there is one, I'd like to try and get some water. But I also assume that there's probably no glassware either.
Correct, yeah.
Do either of you two have a flask or anything, or a water bottle?
No.
Not on me, I'm afraid.
Where did you come from? Where did you wake up here?
I'm thinking before we get into the conversation, it might be a good idea if you go sit in the corner over there. I'd also like you to take off any weapons that you have on you, place them on the floor, and kick them away from you. And at this, Michael will actually raise the gun.
Cassandra looks taken aback, but you notice that she's not backing down. There's almost this quizzical look on her face. She's looking you over, trying to gauge how serious you might be.
He's just kidding.
Got you.
Surprise. But there's this moment of further recognition, and she just keeps her eyes locked into yours.
What happened to your friend? Is that some kind of chronic illness, or is that a recent development?
A recent development, but a recent. I don't know how recent. What year is it?
Yeah, that's right. We don't have our phones.
Yeah, she'll like take her phone out again because even she like can't answer right away. She's like, "Do I remember the year?" So she'll take her phone out and like show the date to Cassie as well.
And there's definitely not as much of a shock to you, Cassie, because you see it as just the next day from when you began your Dorchester House investigation.
Okay, when Cassandra sees that, there's a little bit of tension that releases, and she turns back up to the man with the gun.
Actually, that reminds me, Geneva and Michael, roll sanity. I should have had you roll sanity when you realized how long you'd been.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was just like a fun fact we found out. Oh, that's weird.
Hey, guess what?
Well, golly.
Is this character good at that? Oh.
Yeah. Cami with a 14 out of 56. Yep, you lose 0. Ooh. And,
that's the first time I've looked at his sand score, and it is not very good.
Yeah. Michael with a 72 out of 48, you lose 1.
Okay, so when Michael asks you to take out all your guns, he does it in a very high-pitched voice, and he's sweating a lot.
You look nervous.
I am.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. He doesn't say that.
Look, you can put the gun down, all right, sir?
I will put the gun down when I'm sure that you don't have any weapons on you.
We don't have any weapons
on
us. Where did you come from? We were at the Dorchester House before this.
Does that ring a bell for
Yeah.
us? The Dorchester specifically? Okay.
Absolutely.
What were you doing at the Dorchester House?
Oh, we were doing a stakeout. It unraveled from there.
Stakeout. Who sent you?
I think you know who.
She kind of like looks them both over again. I think she kind of maybe suspected, but she just needed that confirmation. And then she just looks back at Cassie. What was the date when you went into the Dorchester House?
Yesterday.
All right.
We still have the stuff that we had on us, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, when you walked in, you'd surrendered your weapons.
Sure, yeah, no, I know that. But the invitation that was originally sent to us had a green triangle on it, right?
It did. But did you have that with you, or did you leave that at your accommodations?
Yeah, I would think that I would have brought that stuff with us just in case we found something else that we wanted to check.
Okay. Yes, then we'll say you got it with you.
Yeah. So Mark would reach into his pocket and pull out the invitation and fold it open so that you can see the green delta. He says, "Does this tell you who we are?"
She nods.
Oh, daggone it.
And real quick, Brett, I don't know why your sanity was so low. It should have been 55, so it's 54 now.
Honestly, I think I like it. I like it kind of low. It's a little spicy.
Okay.
Join the party. Let's go. Let's have fun.
Yeah, I want to be a crazy person. Let's do it.
So we'll say with that 72 out of 55, you still lose one.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sure.
Why were you guys sent to the Dorchester House? What exactly were you staking out and investigating?
You haven't answered any of our questions. Where were you before this?
We woke up here in the house. Anything before that right now, until I determine more from you, is confidential.
Just tell me. Stop these games. Just say it.
Does that work for you ever doing that?
No, but I've also never had someone inject a syringe into my eye and pull out Patsu.
Does Patsu ring any bells? I don't think so.
It does not.
Okay. What is Patsu?
It's the essence. It's in all of us apparently.
I mean, Mark probably has some of those pustules were filled with Patsu, right?
Yeah, it was essentially boiling up and breaking out of your skin. Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice there is no sign of the fluid on your body, but it definitely left behind these open wounds.
Oh, okay. So I wouldn't have Patsu on me.
No.
Oh. Well,
Or
that
did
saves
stain
me
his
the
clothes?
indignity of collecting Patsu into a jar.
Would it have stained his clothes though, or no?
You would think it would have, but there's no sign of it.
The clothes I was wearing were different.
That's true.
You're right.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I guess I was just wondering. Sorry, I interrupted you, Cassie.
No, go. It's fine.
Yeah. No, but my point's moot because I was going to show him the Patsu on my hands, but it's not there.
Oh, okay. It's in all of us. It's what helps make us.
Sure. Okay.
And you're saying people from the Dorchester House extracted some of this Patsu from you?
Not people, a person.
Person. Who? Do you have a name?
Dr. Maximo Friend.
Not as nice a guy as the name would suggest.
Michael kind of looks over at Geneva, looking for some sort of cue as to what to do next.
Yeah, I think probably anyone, really, not just you, could tell that she's kind of like weighing her options in her head. Before it'll be a minute, but she will speak and she'll say, last thing my colleague and I remember was being taken by staff at Dorchester House back in July. So no, I can't exactly give you any more details than that because, frankly, I do not recall where I have been for the past 2 months.
Cassie looks over at Geneva for a moment, but then looks back up at Michael, and not threateningly, but slowly, without unlocking from his gaze, starts to walk closer, almost ignoring the fact that he has a gun in her face.
Yeah, he will definitely raise the gun. If you take another step closer to me, I'm going to shoot you.
Easy.
So you don't remember the night floors then?
He looks at Geneva.
DM, I'm assuming that means nothing to us, right?
It does not.
Okay.
But just to see what happens, Michael, go ahead and roll just make a sand roll.
Oh, but you made it so high.
Yeah,
Oh, but I still fail. Huzzah.
Ooh.
I don't think I've had a successful sand roll in like 3 or 4 sessions.
Yeah. So with the 79 out of 54, as soon as Cassie says that, you all of a sudden, you can't tell if it's a dream, if it's like something you dreamed or something you actually experienced, but it's disturbing nevertheless. You recall the sensation of being strapped to a gurney and these faces, these out of focus faces looking down at you as you lower into darkness. And just like that, you're back in the moment, but it's unsettling. You lose 1 sanity from that.
He's also going to stumble back, almost falling away from her, and then like wildly swing the gun up, almost as if he's just about to fire. What the fuck was that? What did you do?
Can I human check that?
Yeah, go for it.
Like what his reaction means. I personally know what it means, but
Do you?
well, I mean, I just
It's
heard
very
Vince.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the 54 out of 84, that reaction is very visceral, almost panicked. And clearly something Cassie said struck a chord with him.
Like recognition.
Recognition, yeah. You would need psychotherapy to kind of determine like the root cause or what exactly it could be.
Right.
But it meant something to him, whether he knows it or not.
Mark will just taking a stab at it here, say, you do remember, don't you?
I didn't think so, but what are the night floors? What is that?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Did you do something to me there?
No, we couldn't even help you.
I don't want you to come any closer to me.
I'm sorry, when did this happen?
20 years ago.
She looks over at Michael and what did I say? Time's fucked.
I'm gonna roll another sand check.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah.
Having a memory from 20 years ago for like 30. How old is he again?
You would have been, I think, you wouldn't have been older than 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say like tweens, right?
Yeah, maybe at the oldest.
Yeah, he was just listening to Spice Girls and braiding his friend's hair at that point.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah, 80 out of 53.
You'll get back down to that 48 in no time.
Honestly, if I could roll this high in D&D, amazing.
Did you want to lose one for that? You already did lose one for the
Yeah,
realization.
I took one off. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And
Yeah,
I will say Geneva and Mike, with your experience leading up to this. As weird as it is, it's not. It is equivalent. The weirdness is equivalent to kind of some of the stuff you had seen in that hotel room, and with that file and everything else you experienced.
Yeah, but it's still, I think it's like happening to him.
Oh, totally.
He's remembering, remembering a memory from 20 years ago. That wasn't me just being thirsty to get crazy. I just
totally. Yeah, that was good. I like it.
Yeah, Mark will say, well, listen, if you recognize that symbol, then you know that probably the less we tell you about what happened to us in a different time and place, the better off you all are. At least that sounds like something Ira would have said.
I don't know who Ira is, but I don't think that's an option.
When you both start to mention Ira, that's the first time where Cassandra starts to drift off and look away. And she goes to the sink and checks to see if the water's running.
It is.
She pulls her hair back away from her face a bit and just tilts down and starts to drink. And you can tell that she's almost dehydrated the way that she's lapping it up, and just sort of cupping the water into her mouth. And she brings herself back up with a gulp. And what are your names?
I'm Agent Brown. Geneva. But like, she almost reluctantly tells you her first name.
Agent Vega. And he gives Geneva a look.
Yeah, she knows. Listen, you're right. Whatever cases you worked on in the past, whichever ones we worked on in the past, the less we share, the better. But we need to come to an agreement now that we are apparently in at least this moment together. If there is something relevant from any of us that we have experienced, we bring it to the team. Is that fair?
What team?
The four of us for now.
Well, look, y'all have phones. Y'all have a number that you can dial. I suggest you dial that number, and you talk to whoever it is on the other end, and while you're there, tell them about us. Maybe they can put us in contact with whoever we need to be in contact with.
Out of character, what's the procedure when you come across? Yeah, because I don't know if Geneva would want to do that, but she would follow protocol. So I don't know what protocol is for that.
They're really.
I don't remember a manual.
Yeah.
Right.
So protocol is kind of it's kind of minimal to begin with, and there certainly isn't anything covering a situation like this.
And I know, like, for our last characters, we like got the invitation and everything. Did our handler set up Vega and I to come investigate this, or did we get something similar?
No. So in this case, you were actually legitimately formally tasked by your typical case officer to come out and look into that specific individual.
Gotcha.
Who Delta Green had reason to believe had been compromised.
Mark, do you want us to get you some care? Do you want to go to the ER?
It might be better to go back to Dorchester. They have medical facilities there, and we know that at least some of them are friendly.
Do we?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't you say they were the ones that did this?
Mark, I don't think we can go back. Not now.
Hospital might be out of the question as well. Do you know if that's contagious?
I don't think so. It happened when somebody touched me.
Isn't that how contagious works?
Yeah, she kind of like, it's like, oh, it sounds contagious. Kind of gives that look.
Yeah, Michael takes a step back.
Yeah, it was a special situation.
Yeah, I bet. Michael is actually going to lower his gun at this point, and tuck it back into its holster.
Yeah. So when we say that the folks at Dorchester House did this to us, or it's like, okay, there's like another world, like another Dorchester House.
Okay.
And it was in that place that they did this to us. I mean, the one that's in our world is fine. And, yeah, I mean...
You know how to prevent yourself from... What made you travel between the two? Because if the one in this world is fine, but the one in the other world isn't, we need to make sure we don't go to the other one. Is there a way to do that?
It only, as far as we know, it only shows up after nightfall.
Geneva and Michael, come with me to Whispers real quick.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I have questions, but I don't know if I should ask them.
Do you want Doug and I to go to the other channel so you can record
No, that's okay, because this is all kind of related to their backstory.
Okay. Also, it just feels cool to go to Whispers. It feels like I'm getting a secret.
Go to Whispers. Yeah. I'm not saying you can't.
All right.
Thanks, Jack.
We should not return to the Dorchester House.
I don't want to go back there.
Okay, my weapon's there.
Consider your weapon lost for now.
Yeah.
What do you know about the Dorchester?
I know that even during the day, the staff that are inside cannot be trusted. We did not spend the night in that place, and we still ended up here.
What do you mean? So you've been there. So what did you find? Who did you talk to?
Honestly, I don't recall anything. All I know is that we were there during the day, and the staff that seemed friendly and cooperative were the ones that subdued, drugged us, and now we are here. So we need to operate on the assumption that every single person in that building, whether they are there in the daytime or they are there in the night, whatever world that is, they are all hostile.
Did you speak to Dr. Dallin?
Yes.
No, did we? I say no while he says yes. That's in character.
Well, great question. Things start to get fuzzy.
I rescind my answer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Geneva says no, but more in that, like, I have no recollection of that versus we, like, specifically chose not to talk to him.
If she looks over at Michael when she says no, he just shrugs. I don't know.
Who sent you to the Dorchester House? Was it Barber?
Barber.
Is he who sent you? And she, like, her head cocks, and there's, like, this moment of, like, oh, interesting that you would mention that name.
Michael cocks his head in imitation of Geneva's head cock.
Yeah. Hey, look, I know we got to keep things separate, but like you said, you just told us that folks that we were told to trust should not be trusted.
Who told you to trust them?
Barber.
Barbas? He was the one that we... Go ahead.
Elias Barber. Or Barbas. Oh, I have it written down twice in my notes different ways. Is it Barbas or Barber?
Barbas.
Barbas. Oh, Barbas. Yeah, that's a fella.
Are you saying Barbas sent you to the Dorchester House?
Yep. We were looking for people.
Barbas is who we were sent to investigate. He is not friendly.
Oh, heck.
I think you guys were set up.
What? No.
Penny called it. She said we were... Oh.
Cassandra just starts to walk back in towards the living room to where Mark was laying down, and she just sort of crumples down cross-legged behind him, just letting her posture kind of sink. Why would they do that?
What else did he tell you? We need to know everything.
There were these people. They were Delta Green agents. They were sent there and they disappeared. We had an idea where they disappeared to because we've seen that place before. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense.
Were you given the names of the agents that disappeared?
Yep.
What were they?
I mean, this Mark definitely has written down. He'll pull out his notebook. Tihu, Cal Diasa, Lila Mack, Kim Plaslad, Ray Billabas, Tommen F. Proof-Toth. Those names sound made up, don't they?
Do any of those sound familiar?
They don't.
I mean, there isn't exactly a directory of agents for us to cross-reference. That all is kept secret, but I don't know any of those names from our investigation.
I think maybe even Jenny had mentioned putting them in through some kind of anagram filter, trying to see if what could be pulled from them, if there's anything to pull from it.
Jenny, is she a friendly on the outside?
Jenny's gone.
No.
Understood. And there's a moment of genuine respect, recognizing that there was an agent who was lost.
I, as a player, believe you guys, but in this situation, I would definitely be human-inting you guys.
Oh yeah, go for it.
If what you're saying is true, or if Barbas and Dallin are suspect.
I would like to do that as well.
Yeah, go nuts. All right, Doug or Mark with an 82 and a 68, which is a failure.
Well, that's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shit. Mark,
me.
yeah, Mark with a 54 and 84, and Cassie with an 82 and a 68. So Mark, they seem genuine. They're either really, really good liars or they're being honest, because there's none of those tells or indicators of deception. They seem pretty intense in these assertions. They seem to be telling the truth.
And as an extra piece of information, I will tell you that Michael, while he's trying to, you maybe glean this because you got a pretty good roll. He's trying to seem cool and in control, but he is mightily freaked out. He's basically on the edge of slipping out.
I mean, I'm standing next to Cassie. It seems like a club over here.
Ooh, maybe him and Cassie will be friends.
Aw.
Yeah, Mark was awful close, but we got a bunch of sanity points back at the end last time, right?
You did. Yep. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
a lot back.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wasn't talking sanity mechanically. I don't think he's very close to that, but just in a person way.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Yeah, I think
Cassie, while this is going on, roll alertness for me, just for shits and giggles.
You know I will.
Oh no.
Did you have someone call the cops?
Oh, 45 out of 50. Good. There's something in your pocket.
Yeah, as they're talking, Cassie's just sort of still crumpled on the ground beside Mark, and she starts to feel around and realizes that there's something in her pants, in her jeans, and reaches in. What does it feel like? What is it?
It is a slim, red leather-bound book. And on the cover is the yellow sign.
Does this look familiar to you? And I turn it towards...
That's mean.
Shit. Okay. So Cassie, I'm sorry. That threw me for a loop. I did not see that. I should have known that was coming.
Yeah.
Geneva and Michael, roll sanity, please.
What if I cover my eyes real quick, like a little kid? No. Okay.
No.
He drops his gun as he goes to cover his eyes. Really
Ooh.
quick.
Okay.
Stone
good.
cold. Stone cold.
Geneva with a 5 out of 56 and Michael with a 12 out of 51. You haven't seen it before, but it looks like just a weird symbol.
The red leather-bound journal, however, we've seen those, right?
Oh yeah.
Or we're aware. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it like Homeboys?
Where did she
Bales?
But no, not Bales. Nope.
Where did you get that book?
It was in my pocket, and Cassie brings the book down and starts to look at the cover again, looking at the symbol. Does that sensation that I had back in Dorchester when I saw the symbol, and does that compulsion still hang around in me, or do I feel like it's gone now?
You feel like it's gone at this point.
All right. So I'm going to open it and start to flip through the pages. Is there anything written?
Careful. Like Geneva, she takes a step almost like she's going to take it away from you, but then like realizes that might not be good, but she's giving you a look like, do not look through that book anymore.
It is a play called The King in Yellow.
Do any of the lines or the parts of the names of the characters look familiar?
Not immediately. No, you'd need to do a complete read through.
I flipped all the way to the end.
Nothing stands out.
Does the King in Yellow mean anything to either of you?
No, but we know that Barbas ordered a number of similar notebooks like that. This is from
What?
him.
Who's the King in Yellow?
I don't know.
How do you know of him? Is he their boss? Do they talk about him? Was that just a random question, or?
No, this play is called The King in Yellow. And
Oh, hold on, Cassie. Put that down. Darabandi wrote about that play. He read it. That's when things started to go wrong for him. Well, worse.
how much worse can they get for me?
Much,
Like
I would assume. I would put it down.
Darabandi was a serial killer.
Mark, those names, Darabandi, what were some of the others? Maybe the two of you might remember or recall something about them.
Mark will pull out his notes. Okay. Y'all want to hear some names?
Sure. Please close the book. And she's staring at Cassie until Cassie does so.
Mark notices that she still has the book open.
Oh yeah, no. So as you've been listing names, she's been going back and flipping through pages.
Yeah. He kind of looks at you, Cassie, says, "Oh,
You're a robot. You're a robot.
Oh. Mark looks at Cassie flipping through the book, and he says, "Oh, daggone it. I forgot she does that.
Does what?
Tries to misdirect you while she does something else. She's got my goat again."
Ma'am, please stop reading the book. And like she slowly kind of puts a hand on her gun.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was. And she stuffs it back into her pocket.
Yeah, that's what worries me. Keep it there.
When Geneva reached down and put her hand on her gun, Michael did the same. But having seen her relaxed, he's going to stop.
Mark is going to read out the names. Asa Darabondi, E. Lucette, J. Lenz, E. Mosby.
Mosby, you recognize.
Repeat that last one.
E. Mosby?
Mosby.
Mosby.
Emmett Mosby.
I don't think we ever found out anything about Emmett. Just his name was on a bottle. Well, a picture of a bottle.
What do you know about him?
1 second, looking back at the notes.
I gave him a lot.
Yeah, and I did like a refresher, but I also have the worst brain in the history of the world.
I just sent you
He was-
a direct message.
Oh,
Perfect. Okay.
he was another agent. We identified him as having visited Dr. Barbas's house, but he's been missing for about 64 years. He was seen leaving Dr. Barbas's house, not looking 64 years old.
No, in fact, he was looking about the same as he had when he disappeared. Sound familiar?
Yep. All right. Wait. He left Dr. Barbas's house. Was Dr. Barbas there?
We only have photographs. We weren't there ourselves. We don't know. I would
One would
assume
assume.
he wasn't. Yeah, at some point it was his house.
And he disappeared 64 years ago.
Correct.
Does that mean Barbas is old too, or because Barbas ain't that old?
As a matter of fact. There you go.
Thank you.
There's a lot. I data dumped on you guys. I apologize.
No, you're all good. It was interesting to read. Both times I read through it. Stuff to learn every time.
There was. Normally, I'd write this off as crazy, but since we are getting rid of the pretense of anything being crazy recently, there was a photograph from 1895 with a man that we believe was Barbas. And this photograph was not photoshopped. It seemed genuine, very old.
I will say, as you go back through your notes and you see that name, Jay Lenz, you recall the message that the Clockwork Child brought you. And the first sentence was, or the first few words of that message from Abby were, "Find J.C. Lenz."
Oh shit, that's right. Does the hotel brothel been ring any bells to either of you?
Does it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah,
don't
I was
think-
like, I really don't remember that.
I don't think that one came. No, that one didn't come up.
Okay. No. What is it?
It's a hotel.
I know that. That's a part of the name you said. What's the context?
We're supposed to find someone there. Someone connected to all of this. That place is connected to all of this somehow.
Okay.
It's not a real place. It doesn't exist. We looked. We checked.
Or maybe it just exists at a certain time.
Yeah. Or
How far back did you go when you checked?
Oh shit! I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
You would have noticed though, as soon as Geneva pulls out that red book, the brightest thing
You
in the
mean
room.
Cassie?
Yeah, you would have noticed as soon as Cassie brought out that book, it is now the brightest thing in the room. It almost hurts to look at.
Ooh. Okay. I think Mark will probably bring that up later.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, but Mark just says, yeah, the brothel bin. We checked the city records. We were pretty thorough.
Okay.
All right, so y'all don't remember much or anything about this other world, if that's the right way to say it.
Are you referring to what you called the night floors?
Yeah.
I don't. No. And she looks at Vega.
I don't know. I don't know if it didn't feel like a memory, but it might have been.
Well,
But that doesn't make any sense. How long ago were you there? When did you see me?
20 years ago.
Yeah. I would have been, 12 years old.
No, you were exactly as you are now.
Maybe
Different.
it hasn't happened yet.
That's a comforting thought. Geneva, thank you.
You're welcome.
What about the name Temperance Jane Fry?
Nothing to either of you.
Yeah, she shakes her head.
Michael shakes his as well.
All right, the rest of the list: D. Carver, G. Top Chick, H. Lundeen. None of those ring bell, huh?
Nothing.
No.
Well, there's this. Mark just goes to his notes. He says, "There's a lot more here, but yeah, I don't know how much we really want to share with y'all. For your own good, I mean, not. What about the salesman, the night manager,
I'm sorry, no.
Yeah,
King
that
Bale,
means nothing to me.
Abigail.
Abigail Wright,
No, sorry.
King Bale?
Oh, you know that name, Mark or Michael. You know that name, Michael.
I didn't actually hear what Doug said that time.
Oh,
King Bale.
King Bale. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know exactly who that is.
Hmm.
And you don't know how, but you know exactly who that is. Let me send you some information.
Yes, please. I like how many secrets I get this episode.
This is great.
Oh, I've been messaging people left and right.
Don't worry, everyone. I'm not very good at keeping them. Sorry in advance, Vince. Oh, dope. One second. Vince, will you just hop into Whispers with me really quick?
Sure can. Be back.
So how about that Patsu?
I'm kind of disappointed I don't get to bleach some of it out and stick it in a bottle.
I mean, it's creepy that I didn't really even think into account that of course it wouldn't stain you because it's not on your clothes because you're not wearing them anymore.
Right.
So I'm taking bets now. Which one's gonna kill Cassie, Geneva, or Michael?
And I was like, this time I want to play the creepy hard ass who will kill everyone without a second thought.
Just revenge and Adam against. Yeah, what was the first character's name? Why am I
Yours?
No, Cami's. It was. I didn't know.
Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Joe,
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I blanking on that?
Joe made it till the end, though.
No, what I'm saying that was
Yeah.
Adam at the end was really gunning for
Yeah.
her. I was gunning for her.
Mm-hmm,
But she escaped.
I got away. Now the tables have turned.
I feel it. But I mean, technically, I've been the one to die the most, so I feel like my survival is really, like if you got to balance the scales,
Yeah, so I will try to kill Cassie, but I'll be the one that dies in the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's only fair. Man, there are a lot of names.
A lot of names, a lot of dates.
Mm-hmm.
Since
I can
time
only
isn't
imagine.
real, it's just chaos.
Yeah, I can only imagine how long that fucking data dump was for you.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe that Arbus was working against us.
I know, right? All of them. That's why paranoia.
I felt like, I mean, we were so paranoid about him too,
Yeah.
but we didn't really get
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, like even Jenny, I don't think she knew that he was setting them up, but she knew it was weird enough that they shouldn't call their handler to talk about this because like that was something weird was going on and he was up to something. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect this.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
So when you say that name,
Mm-hmm.
Michael, he was very, very tense prior to this. Like I said before, he's been kind of like keeping everything, trying to keep it like he's looking cool, but he's quite wound and quite tense. And he relaxes.
Can I human that since I know him a little bit
Yeah.
more?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
I want to see if I should be concerned.
Oh, Cami, of course you should. You goof.
Always.
I pull out my gun immediately. Oh, dang, I just missed it.
Yeah, 62 out of 60. No. It's a weird reaction, to be sure, but you're not really sure what the reason behind it is.
Can you say that name again? He's looking at Mark.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was the last name that I said.
It was the King Bale one.
Oh, that's right, King Bale. King Bale. I think his name wasn't it Timothy?
Did you get that, Michael? Or Brett?
Yeah, Timothy is what you said? Or did I
Yeah.
get your message, Vince?
My message.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay. I should have remembered that, but you know exactly where he is and you know exactly how to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Does that name mean something to you, Agent Vega?
Yeah, I think it does, actually. Would you like to talk to him?
What do you mean?
Her hand is on her gun now.
Yeah. Mark does not like this because we saw Bale was the one who was calling people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh hell.
But
Yeah,
like-
she's looking at you two to kind of see because she knows nothing about this Agent Bale person or King Bale person, so she's trying to see what reactions you two are having.
Do you know?
You got his phone number there, Michael?
No. No.
Oh, well, how are you gonna talk to him?
I don't know. But if you want to, you can.
How is it King Bale then? It's not Timothy.
I don't know, Timothy.
I want to talk to him right now.
First, Agent
Okay.
Vega, will you hand me your gun?
And Michael doesn't say anything, but he tips his head back.
Your
and
phone
he-
starts ringing.
He
Mine?
pulls his phone out of his
his.
his phone out of his pocket and he hands it to Cassandra. There you go.
Hello?
Do you look at the caller ID first?
Yes.
It is a New York City area code associated with a hotel brothel bin.
I'd quickly show it to Mark before I answer it then. Hello.
This is Bale. You got out?
Some of us did, not all of us.
Who did you lose?
Jenny and Ira. Almost lost Mark too, but he got out.
Mr. Witwer knows now. Use him.
What does he know?
He knows how to find them. The ones in the Ars Goetia.
The demons?
Calling upon them. They'll answer questions. They'll open doors. And he hangs up.
Her eyes have turned towards Michael. What is his expression like right now as she's been talking to this guy?
After he handed the phone to you and you answered it, he kind of like has a little, like a little shake, when you're trying to like, when you get like a little creep up your spine or something like that and you're just kind of trying to shake it out. He has like something a little bit like that, and then he pales considerably and looks a little sick.
I'm going to try calling that number back on the phone.
You immediately get the, this number is not in service or has been disconnected.
That's what I thought. I hang up and carefully hand it back to Michael.
That was... I'm not entirely sure why I did that.
What just happened?
Mark, you remember the names of those archdemons, those devils from the Ars Goetia?
Does he?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, yeah.
Mark?
You said Mark, yeah.
Oh! Wait, I'm confused. The names of those demons from the Ars Goetia?
Yeah, any character. You remember the sigils for the demons from...
I don't have them memorized. There's like 72 of them.
What was the one that was on the invitation?
Also, just quick note, is there 72 or 77?
72.
72, okay.
And so, yeah, there was one on the invitation for Person.
Person, that's the one.
And there was a sigil on the floor in the room where you came to.
For Person as well.
Mm-mm.
That was for a different demon?
Yep.
And we didn't know which demon that was.
Sure don't.
All right. Yeah, Mark would say, the one we saw on the invitation, that was Person.
Michael.
And when you say the name Person, he relaxes again.
You know the name Person.
Would you like to talk to him?
All right, this is enough.
Cassandra looks to Mark just to try and gauge his attitude right now, considering he's also, gravely wounded.
Yeah, Mark is really getting creeped out by Michael at this point. He just like every time he says, "Would you like to talk to him?" Mark just does almost a double take. Like, is this guy crazy?
And then after a moment of no response to that question, he gets that little shiver again, and pales and looks a little sick. Stop doing that.
What is going on with you?
I don't know. Stop saying those. Don't say those names. Stop
All
saying
right,
those
with
names.
no one saying the names, do the names mean something to you, Agent Vega?
I don't, not before now, no.
Have you ever spoken to Person before?
Stop saying that name. And he has that sort of he has that sort of a response immediately as you're saying it, and then relaxes a little. And his eyes are a little glassy when he looks at you.
Have you spoken with him?
No. Would you like to?
No.
Hey, look, nobody wants to talk to a demon.
A few seconds go by. He shakes it out. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave.
Where are you gonna go?
Away from you.
Jack the grenade.
Hey, look. Michael.
The next person that says the name of a demon, I'm gonna draw my gun and I'm gonna shoot them. How does that sound? Does that sound good to everyone? Does everyone understand that?
I won't say another of those names without your permission, okay?
Okay.
Lucifer.
Michael floats 3 feet off the floor.
I would promise, okay? I think we need to get Mark treated. If we can go to a convenience store, if one of you can call a car, we can try and sort this out away from here.
What hotel were we staying at?
The Boxer Hotel?
Boxer. Okay.
Were we staying at the same hotel?
No.
Okay.
You were staying at like a chain joint like you usually do.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, we were staying at the Boxer, but that was 3 months ago. So I assume
2 months.
2 months. I keep saying 3. That was 2 months ago.
And compromised.
Yeah. So I can assume that no longer holds, but she looks at Michael. We need to track down what we had in that room.
Okay.
What do you have in that room?
Evidence from our previous case that we do not want to be compromised or to fall into the wrong hands. I think you can understand that.
Yes. Is it related to Dorchester House? Is it something else?
It's unclear, but I will inform you as soon as I know.
I'm Cassandra, by the way.
Yeah, Mark.
Cassandra looks down at the phone and considers calling that number again one more time before thinking better of it.
You already handed it back to Michael.
Oh, I did? Oh, I thought I still had it. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. Michael, can you call us a car?
Sure. And he dials the number and is like, "Hey, hi, hello. We're gonna need a couple of cabs to this place."
I mean, like, Uber's still around, right? That's the thing, right? I don't know.
I think so. Let me see.
Yeah, what year is it?
2015?
Yeah, it'd be
2015
around.
was Uber like a big thing?
Not a big
Not a
thing, but it was
big
still
thing, yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't get Uber up here until much later.
Yeah. So Uber was started in 2009 as Uber Cab. So yeah, it would have been around. Yeah. So yeah, you get an Uber. Is Mark in his condition going to get into the Uber? Or is somebody just going to go get the supplies and then meet them elsewhere?
I mean, I guess it's up for us to discuss. I can. That coat, that sweatshirt has a hood. If you just want to pull the hood over, and we can take you. We can get a room at one of the hotels that we were staying at.
Michael is not willing to have his rating take that sort of a hit.
And your rooms should still be good to go.
Yeah, I was about to say we didn't check out. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Kathy, knowing what we do now about Dr. Barbas, do you think maybe we should go to a different hotel?
Well, either way, our stuff is there. I mean, I'm not
Other than
terribly
my
attached
weapon
to any of it.
and my cell phone, I can burn the rest of it.
And those are at Dorchester House, you said, correct?
Yep.
I would consider those burned for now.
Well, that's going to be a problem for me, but I guess I'll figure that out.
We'll find another place then.
Yeah, let's do that.
Do either of you have any cards or money on you?
I'll check my pockets. See if my
We would
wallet.
have our wallets and stuff, right?
Yeah, you all still have your wallets and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to surrender those.
Are you
Yeah.
asking to borrow money from me?
Yeah, could I get like a five, just a five?
Yeah.
From spot me,
Just yet.
Oh, you spot me.
Do we have our wallets on us?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you all rolled well on those luck rolls, so I'm not going to deprive you.
All right. Yeah, so let's go to, maybe we should go to a hotel near the Boxer. You said that was compromised? You
Correct.
think Barbas found out about it?
It's not necessarily Barbas that I'm worried about. It was a previous case that we were working on.
And you
Let's
think
just
that
say
over
that there was potentially a contamination.
I thought that Barbas was the previous case.
There were some moving parts.
All right.
well, listen, we'll
Whatever
find
we
it.
left there has been left alone for 2 months. God knows who's found it, who's touched it, who's done whatever the fuck with it. So,
I mean, you said you were sent by your handler, right?
yes.
Well, they should.
The only way that we should ever accept missions, by the way.
They should have sent a cleanup team once you disappeared.
Should have. I have no way of confirming that right now.
Well, let's find a hotel somewhere not close to either, and something hopefully that's close to either a convenience store, a drugstore, or like a medical supply store, and we can try and get you patched up, Mark. Try and at least get our bearings somewhere.
These aren't bullet wounds.
I know that, Mark.
I can. So here's the thing. If you tell me what to say, can I go to the hospital?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Like I got burned, or
Mark,
this doesn't look like burns.
we can go to the ER if you want. But this, I mostly worked on dead people, but I did have to take some courses for the living, and this is worse than any. This is like a chemical burn. It's patterning. It's the bruising, the way that these wounds have opened up. It's completely unique to anything I've ever seen.
No, I understand that, and nothing against your medical abilities, Cassie. I just think that if we went to an emergency room, they would look at me funny and say, "What happens?" and they'd treat me anyway, because unless you got a gunshot or a stab wound, they don't have to report it to the police.
At best, I can imagine them giving you some ibuprofen and maybe some cortisone and sending you on your way. So, again, it's up to you. I can do what I can to help you.
Well, I mean, eventually I'm going to have to go to the doctor for long-term care.
Again, I would strongly caution against hospitals at this point.
I agree. I don't feel comfortable with the idea of visiting one right now, considering what we just went through.
I have no opinion.
All right. Well, let's, for now, let's go back. Let's go find a hotel.
Yeah, I'll whip out my phone and see if I can find something relatively cheap, relatively close.
Easy enough. Yeah.
And Michael will lean over to Geneva and go, "You order the Uber for them. I'll get one for us."
Yeah, she gives you a little thumbs up. Same thought.
He's got a 5-star rating and he's not willing to give it up.
Not when we've got the plague in the backseat.
All right. Well, I'll cover up.
I think it's a good. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, Cassandra gives you her hoodie that she was wearing so that you at least have like a hood you can pull over. But otherwise, it's just going to look like, sick junkies right in the car without the other two.
Mm-hmm.
So, the plan at this point, who's going where? I believe, Cassie, you were going to look for supplies, right?
Well, I think we're all going to go find a hotel first and then
Got it.
And then break off to find supplies and stuff.
Okay. Yep. So Geneva was definitely able to find you a place relatively close to the Boxer Hotel, their original accommodations. So yeah, we'll say you all head over there and have no issues getting checked in.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure to check in for both Mark. Well, fuck. Oh yeah, we have wallets on run. So I'll make sure to just check in for Mark and myself, just because I don't want the desk clerk to be freaked out by this leper who's with us. And then Mark, do you want to stay here? Just get some
Yeah,
rest.
I think I better. I'm gonna lay down.
All right. Well, I'll be back. Just stay put, okay? And remembering that she doesn't have a phone, looks down at her pockets. Just, I guess, just smoke signal if you need me.
Right. All right. Yeah. Hey, Cassie. Thanks. Look, it has definitely crossed my mind to just bolt on the way over here, but I these people, I think they know stuff, and if we all put our heads together, maybe we can figure this one out.
That's what I'm hoping.
Even though Ira would be against it.
Well, he's dead now. So I guess it doesn't really matter. And with that,
right.
Cassandra just breaks off and heads out.
Cool.
All right. What are Geneva and Michael doing?
When they get in the car, I think she's going to get on her phone and just Google the Boxer Hotel and see if in the last couple months if there's been any, particular news stories about that place that might be interesting.
Nope. Nothing that you can find.
All right, that's actually honestly probably a good thing. So
Michael fidgets a lot. Doesn't do anything productive. He seems somewhat lost in thought, but yeah, he's very fidgety.
Are you guys in your room at this point, or?
I'm assuming we would go to the hotel like right away, right? Like not the hotel we're sleeping at, the hotel where we left the item.
Ah, okay. Was that the plan, Geneva?
yeah, I think at least for if like Mark and Cassie are off going to go take care of Mark while they're busy, I think that would make sense for Geneva and Michael to just go check the place out.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, you drive on over to the Boxer, and like you said, you found a hotel that wasn't too far away. So it's not a very far drive to get back. It is considered a landmark in the West End of Boston. It was built in 1904 in this kind of classic Flatiron style. Definitely like kind of a bougie looking place. Pretty nice, and it was remodeled in probably 2015. Definitely getting increasingly popular. So it wasn't like a chumpy place that you all found and stayed at. It was pretty good. And your room was 616.
Feels like if I was a special agent investigating like creepy mysteries and like demons and crazy evil sorcery, I would just never get a room with a 6 or a 13 in it ever. Room number 4, please.
Nice. So yeah, you get to the door of the hotel room, and what do you do?
I want to just knock on that door first, just in case there's someone in there.
Okay. Yeah, you knock and there is no answer. And there is no like do not disturb. There is no do not disturb sign hanging from the doorknob or anything like that.
Is it like an electronic lock with like a key card thing?
It is.
Did we hide it in the room or did we just leave it in the room?
We
Because if we
left it. We got the fuck out of there.
yeah, like we should go down to the front counter and be like, hey, we were here a couple months ago. We got called away on work very, very quickly and without notice, and we left something here and we'd like to see if somebody turned it in. Right?
Yeah. Well, this is also the room where the window was, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Geneva's concerned about.
Okay. Well, then why don't we just rent it for the night?
Sure.
And then just go inside and take a look.
Yeah. I think that'll be the easiest.
Okay. Yeah. You easily get It's unrented at the moment. It's not assigned to anybody, so you easily are able to secure it for the evening. And the front desk worker, welcomes you back, seeing that you've stayed there previously. And they note that you stayed in that room last time, and they're so happy that you like the place enough to come back. So they get you your key, and you have a key for room 616.
He is going to ask about the left belongings.
Right.
Did we leave anything in there last time? Sorry, we were in such a rush.
No, nothing that was delivered to the lost and found. Nothing that we've been hanging on to for you. And if there was, we would have contacted you immediately. Tried to secure arrangements to send it back to you.
Perfect. Great. Thank you very much.
Of course. Let us know if you need anything else.
We will.
Thumbs up. Yeah. Geneva will take the key and head that way.
Okay.
What time of day is it?
It is, I'd say early afternoon, late morning. Probably,
Okay.
I'd say no later than 11.
Okay, that seems safe.
So as we're walking up the stairs, Michael's gonna kind of, I guess we'd be in an elevator. Michael's gonna kind of look around, make sure nobody's listening, and be like, so are we gonna talk about what happened at the house?
Which part? The demon part, or?
I think maybe the dude with the pustules all over his body and the crazy lady who kept saying words that made me see things. Is she a witch?
No, I genuinely believe they are other agents with the program.
She seems like a problem, Geneva.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't know what they have encountered. It seems like something has potentially plagued them for 20 years, and I think we need to be careful.
She said words that made me learn things. That's not normal.
No. And the fact that Barbas seemed to reach out to them specifically and they took the goddamn job, which is another conversation.
Yeah, did they hire these people off the street? Is there no, training at all?
Who knows, honestly, but I think we need to operate under the assumption that even though we are working with them now, that partnership may have to come to an end. And she gives you a specific look.
Yeah, well, if she gets inside my head again, I don't know.
I won't stop you.
I might need you to stop her.
I will if I can, but she seemed a little too eager to both read that book and to call those names.
We need to get that book away from her. Also, what do you mean you don't know if you can? She weighs 45 pounds soaking wet.
She does now.
Huh?
Look, I'm not operating under the assumption that they are entirely human and that they haven't been infected with something that could rear its ugly fucking head the minute I pull a gun on them.
I suppose, but not shooting someone that needs to be shot just because they might turn into something else seems like a bad idea.
Oh, no, I'll try. I'm just saying, based on whatever might be going on, that shot may or may not be successful.
All right.
As the elevator reaches the floor and you all kind of start making your way down the hallway, kind of having this conversation as you go, you find yourself outside the door to 616.
Ready?
No. But let's do it.
All right. She unlocks the door and opens it.
Michael takes a big, deep breath, cracks his neck from side to side, shakes out his jitters, gets ready.
It is full of boxes. Stacked front to back with boxes. The double beds are covered in boxes. They are literally everywhere.
Is this familiar to us? Like we put all these boxes in here?
Definitely not.
Well, I mean, of all the things I tried to expect, I'll admit this is not one of them.
No. Why? This is like a spooky thing, right? Not like the hotel being really irresponsible.
It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, not unless they turned into some kind of fucked up escape room overnight. Well, I guess
Yeah, like-
not overnight, in the last 2 months.
Yeah, they seem pretty on top of it.
Yeah, I close the door behind us and I go to the nearest box. I don't touch it, but I want to see if I can just like look inside and see if there's something in it, or is it closed?
It's closed.
I don't want to touch it.
Touch it. Come on, it'll be fun.
Is there like tissues, or maybe even just I go in the bathroom and grab some toilet paper or something so that my hand isn't making direct contact with the box or anything else in there?
It is actually really hard to navigate inside this room to even get to the bathroom because it is so stacked with boxes and junk. It looks like a hoarder's room. Like you find you have to navigate past like a 1940s era wheelchair. There's like boxes and you see like there are artificial limbs or like mannequin appendages like jutting from the tops of one of the boxes. It's weird.
Oh.
Michael is going to start like searching through the stuff.
Okay. Yeah, what's your search rating at? I think it's at let me check.
60.
60? Yeah, easy enough. You start going through the boxes and you find it's junk. You find dentures, you find shirts,
Ugh.
shoes, briefcases, an assortment of radios, papers in various languages. Like there's even what looks to be like some kind of economic report in Farsi, transistor radio. Is this ringing any bells to anybody yet?
I'm not there.
Yes, but I'm not going to say what it is. But I remember.
Do you?
No.
Okay, good, because I was like, I don't, and I feel bad now.
Roll. No, that's okay. Roll in times 5.
Okay.
Actually, no, you wouldn't know this. Geneva and Michael would not know this.
Oh, but Jenny and Ira, perhaps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then that's my excuse.
Yeah,
I'm in
and mine
char-
as well.
I'm in character right now.
Method acting.
Yeah. It is oddly enough, like joking aside, it is ringing a sort of a bell, but I just can't.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a couple pictures with my phone.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll tell you guys because it doesn't matter if you know or not.
Yes, I recall.
But like hers wasn't. That's-
Secrets.
Sorry, I didn't say anything. Is that how that works? Can I just?
That's
say
exactly how that works. Yeah.
Perfect. Man, I really hope I never commit a crime so that the police.
So what do you do? Yeah, you take photos. You take your photos, and easily you kind of hold some of the lids open so you can snap a quick picture of the contents. What's your next move?
I mean, do we catalog all of this? Do we leave and pretend it doesn't exist? This wasn't exactly our job, but
No.
it is now, it feels like, because we just walked into it.
I mean, you know that I love the easy way out. And I would like to keep that going. So why don't we treat this all as one whole thing? Because if we try and catalog everything in this room, we're going to be here for weeks.
What if we miss something?
I mean, I feel like we're going to miss more spending our entire lives over the next couple of weeks with our nose in this pile of shit. There's so much here. and all of it looks like garbage.
All right. Well, we have the room for a couple of nights, so we know that no one's going to be coming in here and messing with it. So maybe we just, I don't know. I took some pictures. Let's regroup and see how patient 0 is doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Geneva,
Yes.
as you leave the hotel and you get back out into the late morning, early afternoon, you catch something out of your periphery, and you turn to look, and you blink because this can't possibly be what you're seeing. But it looks like the people in the distance, maybe 200 yards, a little over away, they look like marionettes hanging from strings that appear to rise and vanish into the air. I need you to roll sanity.
No.
27 out of 56. Rocking these sanity rolls. You lose 1.
Okay. I just imagine that she has like sunglasses on, and so like no one, she just looks completely stone faced. She's like, that's fucking weird, and that's the 1 point, but stone cold.
Okay. As this is happening, Cassie,
Yes.
you're with your first aid score, which I believe is a 70. You're
Okay.
easily able to kind of find what it is you're looking for. You hit up a local CVS, you get rubbing alcohol, you get gauze. You're really able to get everything you need to really just patch up or at least clean these wounds that have manifested on Mark. And you go back and you try to render some form of first aid as best you can. So go ahead and make a first aid roll for me.
Sure. And I would just like to say, though, that Cassandra is broke, so she would have had to use Mark's card.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, Mark would have given that to her.
Yeah, nice.
What'd you get?
Daggone.
I got a 69 out of 70.
69.
Nice.
69 out of 70. Perfect. Okay. Mark, go ahead and roll 1d4.
Oh, that's going to help. Whew, a 4.
You regain 4 hit points.
I'm good, baby. I'm real good.
Nice.
It's painful at first, especially when she starts taking the hydrogen peroxide, the alcohol to the wounds to get them clean, and starts kind of, especially the ones like on your chest and on your body, like start like placing gauze on them, so that way there's something separating it from your clothing. But then like it soothes. There's the Neosporin. There's the other agents that she puts on there before putting on some kind of covering, and you're still wore out, but you feel noticeably better.
Yeah, I think Mark's just like that. I think that ibuprofen's kicking in or something, but I almost feel like I can walk around again at least. How does it look?
Like shit.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. He just needs to heal for a couple days.
Yeah. All right.
Just try not to scratch at it. It's gonna scab a lot.
Probably better cover him up with bandages.
Yeah, wherever we can.
Yeah. Where'd Geneva and Michael go?
I think they went back to the boxer to see if they could follow up and figure out where their stuff went over the past couple months.
All right. What are we gonna do? I mean, should we go after Barbas?
I mean, the logical thing would be to do that, but this past 24 hours past 2 decades does not make sense. None of it makes sense, and I feel like no matter what choice we make, no matter how logical or illogical it might be, it's going to lead us back to the same place. But I figure if we're just talking to Barbas, it'll maybe at least just get us there faster.
Wait, you want to talk to Barbas?
No, I will.
I was thinking we should take him out.
Are you saying what I think you're saying? You think we should just end this?
He's not just too close to this stuff, Cassie. He's in on it. He is trying to spread it.
I have no problem following you in that regard. I just wonder if doing that is going to change anything.
Yeah, I don't know. But it seems, this seems like something that we just can't let go on. Right?
No, you're right. I can't let him do this to other people. He's going to keep doing it to other people if he can.
And let's face it, Cassie, we should have seen this. He was sloppy. Using the same hotel as was on the back of that napkin.
I don't think it was sloppiness. I think this is a game for them. We're entertainment. The play, the lapses in time, the theatrics. This is all... We're some kind of morbid entertainment for something. We know we're being watched. We know that whatever this is keeping us connected to each other and to them. I've not stopped seeing the things that I've seen for the past 20 years. They don't go away, and they keep popping up.
This really got to you, didn't it? Or was it something else?
She doesn't say anything. She just hangs in the air a bit, just letting the comment hang in the air, rather. Looking away from Mark.
Cassie, what? We haven't talked about it, and I don't... Just you and me now. What happened?
What do you mean?
Cassie, I saw the tracks. Look at you. You look like death warmed over, and I'm the one that almost got killed. What happened to you?
Cassandra sits down at the end of the bed by his feet, not looking at him at all, just hanging her head down. I lost everything.
Was it because of this? Or was it just something else?
It was, it wasn't. Whatever this case did, it took a part of me. And when we came out of it, I knew I had seen things that I was never supposed to see as a person, as a human being. And I look at the people at Dorchester House. I think about them, and I think that with what I've gone through, with what I've put my family through, with what I've put myself through, that I belong there. I should be there. Maybe I wouldn't have been such a fucking mess myself out there in the world, but here I am.
I'm sorry I never brought this up before. We could all see that you were hurting, but I don't know. I guess I was able to put that place behind me somehow. Well, I know you guys don't like me talking about it too much, but I just gave it all to the Lord, and that worked for a while.
For a while.
And then Sharon died, and my dad died, and kids are a mess. Ain't none of this going the way I thought it would.
I held out for a long time, thinking that I could just be okay. And it worked for a while. I mean, I had a kid. I looked happy, and I was so thankful that I was able to bring him.
Kids are everything.
But every night, I saw things from that place, the faces, the robes, I saw Michael screaming. I saw you, I saw Ira and Jenny, I saw all those things, and none of it stopped. Nothing I did stopped it, and I needed to stay awake. I needed to stay out of that place. Every time I go to sleep, I go back there, and it hurts so much. It's just easier to stay awake right now.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think it's a good long-term option, especially if it involves sticking things in your veins.
That was just I ran out of Adderall. It was just a desperate thing that I did. It's not something that I regularly do. I didn't have money. And
Adderall too, Cassie.
It doesn't matter anyway at this point, okay? You know, the things that I was running away from when I slept are now coming back to us when we're awake, so it doesn't fucking matter. So if you want to kill Barbas, we kill Barbas. If you want to not, we won't.
Well, I don't know. You're right. It might not change anything, but it might help somebody down the road.
I don't want anyone else to have to go through what we're going through. If it stops with us, it stops with us.
Yeah. And so, Vince, just to clarify, we wouldn't have any phone number to call at all for Delta Green, right? They always contact us.
Yeah, you would have a last ditch number to get a hold of Agent Marcus. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but we would have also gotten. Would we have gotten Geneva and Michael's number as well, or no?
Do you guys have phones?
No, but we have hotel phones now.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, if you wrote down their numbers, you'd have them.
Yeah. I don't know how paranoid Michael is after contact.
Good point. Yeah.
Things.
Geneva, Michael, did you give him your numbers?
Geneva would give hers, but not have the expectation that Michael also needed to share his, given that Cassie might call him and start saying demon names. But Geneva would, just in case they genuinely do need to get in touch, she would share hers.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll say you have Geneva's number, and you have, if you remembered it, Marcus's number.
Maybe we should do something that we should have done a long time ago, and call Marcus.
I think you're right. We should call the others, so get them back here.
Now, okay. As I'm saying, call Marcus. I'm not sure that maybe we should talk about it first, because we shouldn't have done this. I mean, it's obvious to see now. We got hoodwinked into this.
I know.
And
I didn't trust my own instincts.
I don't think the organization has has a lot of tolerance for screw-ups like this. Oh,
Ira and Jenny are gone because of us. Because of me. Because I ran. They took that stuff from me and then I ran. I screamed and I ran.
don't blame yourself. That ain't going nowhere.
It should have been them. It should have been me instead of them.
Now, Cassie, you can't say that.
Listen, just call the others, okay? Just do what you need to do. I need to get some air. And Cassie's gonna head out the door.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess Mark will call Geneva, but I mean, really, we're just gonna wait here until they come back anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we'll say at this point, like Geneva and Michael are probably wrapping up their inspection of the room. Geneva has her little episode. Do you all talk about anything on the way back, Geneva and Mike?
Sorry, what episode did Geneva have?
Oh, was seeing that the marionettes?
Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. I was like, did she have an episode in the room that I blacked out somehow? Got it. I don't know if Michael will bring up anything. I think he's kind of a chatter, so he might like chat at her a little bit. But he also has, I assume, knows her well enough to know that if she's not feeling it, she just won't respond, and he'll just kind of keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, she makes, some conversation with you and stuff. I think it's kind of talking just to talk, so maybe she doesn't have to think about other things unless, like, actual deep conversations.
Do you all talk about Roger at all?
Geneva is specifically not talking about Roger right now. I don't
Got
know
it.
if Michael will bring him up, but...
No, not in an Uber. Absolutely not.
Oh, that's right. You're in an Uber. Disregard. I forgot you're in an Uber.
Yeah, unless they are completely confirmed alone. I think Michael knows how seriously Geneva takes the job, even if he doesn't take it that seriously, and he usually follows her lead on stuff, so he wouldn't bring it up.
Yeah, so you arrive back at the hotel, and it's a very short drive. We're talking maybe a matter of blocks, and you head back up to at this point, Mark, you would actually call Geneva, and I'm guessing give her the room number.
Yeah.
If it's a matter of blocks, would we not have just walked?
Yeah, it's up to you,
Geneva.
Yeah, I mean, we can walk.
Yeah.
If it's not that far. Save the Uber money.
Not that really makes any difference. I was just like, if it's a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flavor thing. I got you.
Yeah.
So we've confirmed that Michael's from Canada and not the United States. But I mean,
Right.
walking along the side of the road?
Yeah, who does that?
Who does
What?
Hillbillies?
Me, I do it all the time.
I can tell. I've heard about you.
So yeah, you probably run into Cassie on your way up. Well, where does Cassie go? Does she go outside, or just a hallway, or?
Oh yeah, no, she's outside the building.
Okay.
And I'd say that when they get closer, they'd see at some point maybe someone is going into the hotel. And
Actually, do me a favor,
yes,
if you don't mind. Just roll alertness.
Oh, okay. It's my favorite skill. Oh, apparently this is my favorite skill. Okay.
44 out of 50, critical success. You are distracted, after that very deep conversation with Mark, feeling more vulnerable than you maybe wanted to, certainly. Your mind is elsewhere, but you kind of look around, you search the faces of the people around you, and something stands out. Probably maybe a quarter of a mile away. Aside from all the bustle and the faceless figures moving past you on the street, you see someone just watching you. They are wearing an elaborate army green face mask. And they're just staring.
Like, what kind of face mask do you mean?
Like a gas mask.
That's not creepy at all. Yeah. So yeah, Cassandra was waiting outside to try and bum a cigarette from someone because she has none, because they're in her bag with the other stuff. But as soon as she sees this person, she stops trying to beg for a cigarette and will actually start to walk towards this person.
Okay. As you get to within maybe a third of the way, they turn and kind of walk into the crowd.
Oh, I'm running after him.
Okay. Roll athletics.
Okay.
Are we close enough to have seen her run off?
I'd say at this point, yes. Like I'd see maybe you kind of actually roll. You both roll alertness for me.
Okay.
Also, the self-preservation instincts in this group are real bad, guys.
Diggity dog shit is what they are.
They are maybe the worst I've ever seen.
All right. So Geneva with a 78 out of 70. You don't see it, but Michael, maybe because of this unique bond you and Cassie now have with her seeming to just want to fuck with you, you recognize her as she kind of takes off. But Cassie, with that 90 out of 30, you try to keep track of this individual. You try to keep eyes on them. You try to navigate through the streets, and they're gone.
Can we say because I got a critical failure? No, I didn't get a critical. Never mind. Scratch that. Actually, with a 90, could I say that like maybe I accidentally run into Geneva and Michael?
Yeah, we can say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and having seen her, Michael will like with the back of his hand just kind of smack Geneva on the arm and go, "What the fuck is she doing?" And point at Cassandra as she makes her way towards us.
How? I just need to know, like, what is her expression when she's like running?
Confusion.
Okay.
Not necessarily aggression, but she's definitely not looking at you while she's like very focused on the direction she's trying to follow. You two just happen to be in the direction or in the middle, in between that direction.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm sorry. Michael.
Going somewhere?
And at this point, you see that she's like trying to inch past you both, like looking behind you all, and she's like trying to break away again.
What are you doing?
There's someone. There was someone watching me with a mask on.
I'm going to reach out and try to stop her. I don't know if that's like an unarmed or what that is. A grapple, I guess.
Yeah, are you trying to like push past them, Cassie?
Weakly, I am. So I'd say that, yeah, like if there's a DC, it's not that difficult because she's more just like doing this based on impulse as opposed to like intention.
I guess my main question, like, would you allow yourself to be stopped if you were like intercepted?
Yeah, I'd say that with this, since I lost sight of this person, I'd say yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Geneva, you don't get much resistance as you hold an arm out and kind of bar her from continuing.
Let's just go back to the room.
Did you see them?
No, let's just go back to the room.
But fine, yeah. Do either one of you have a cigarette?
I'm gonna check to see if I have my cigarettes on me.
Roll luck. Fuck it. So with a 64 out of 100, you do not.
Oh shit! Don't.
You've got the remains of like an empty pack still in your pocket.
I'm gonna hop to the store really quick and get some.
Okay.
And before he goes, he'll stop, and he looks very reluctant, but he'll turn to Cassandra and go, "What do you smoke?"
I'm not picky. I guess preferably something light. Nothing with menthol.
Okay. And he finds that very odd because usually people are really particular about the type of cigarette they smoke. But he'll be like, "All right, I'll be back in a bit. I'll meet you guys at the hotel."
Yeah, I think Geneva will just kind of try to gently turn Cassie back in the direction of the hotel and walk back with her.
Did you find anything?
We found something. We'll talk about it when we're inside.
And Michael is actually going to do a little search around for the gas mask guy. For the mask guy. See if there's anybody wearing a mask.
Okay.
Nice.
Roll alertness. Yeah, 10 out of 80.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see one. You see two.
Oh, boy.
And
Where
again,
are they?
about maybe a quarter, half a mile up the street. Still
Okay.
wearing those green gas masks.
Michael is going to act like he didn't see anybody. He's going to go into the store and buy some cigarettes. And then when he leaves the store, he's going to casually turn the other direction from the hotel. And he's going to pull out his phone and text Geneva, we've been made.
And when you do exit the store, if you do try to look for them, they are gone.
I still think he's going to go for a bit of a walk or head in a different direction. Yeah, he still sends Geneva that text because that seems bad.
Got it.
That seems really bad. The gas mask thing makes me think it's like maybe it's not like I don't know, like professionals and more like creepy monster shit, but also like that's bad.
I'm just curious, Cami, do you remember anything about gas masks?
Oh, jeez.
Vince, how much secret information was there that
Do you mean like me as like Jenny or me
as Jenny?
As Jenny?
When she went back to the McAllister building by herself.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I was just curious.
I vaguely, but I knew it sounded familiar, and I was like, I think Jenny, that happened.
Too bad Jenny's dead.
Yeah, man.
I know, it's so sad. I was just curious if it rang any bells. Because I've been trying to seed shit throughout the campaign. Okay.
Yeah.
So Brett, so Geneva, you do get that text message, and Michael, as you're walking, just for my edification, roll, just make one more alertness roll for me.
Sure. Yeah, and he's just going to casually pull out a cigarette, start smoking the cigarette, and keep his peepers peeled.
Okay.
And when Geneva gets to text, she will text back program or unfriendlies.
He texts her back a question mark.
All right, I'll talk about that.
Not sure. Yeah.
Gotcha.
With a 97 out of 80, you don't catch any. You don't catch them. You don't catch anybody in gas masks or anything else unusual. You do kind of, as you pass an alleyway, you kind of look over and you watch a guy just climb into a dumpster.
Yeah, he's not going to that hotel they were going to go to. He is going to do every trick he's ever learned on how to drop a tail, and try and slip into another hotel somewhere. And he will let Geneva know when he gets there, but it'll take him as long as it takes for him to feel comfortable that he is not being followed.
Okay, go ahead and roll stealth.
Okay. He's gonna go sleep in that junk room they rented. No, he's not. It's a terrible idea.
Ooh, with a 61 out of 10. Yeah.
Jesus.
You think you're clean?
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, he thinks he's clean, so he does that for as long as it takes for him to feel that way, and then he's going to just kind of like mosey into whatever hotel is close by, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough. It doesn't take terribly long to find another place. But in the meantime, Geneva, Cassie, and Mark, what are you three up to?
Smoking that Parliament. Oh wait, no, he hasn't come back with my cigarette yet. Sorry.
No. He did buy them though.
Thank you. Guess we'll just go back up and meet with Mark. Cassie will knock first and open the door and let Geneva in first. She's not going to say anything to her as they're going up to the room, which might be a little awkward.
Yeah, when you guys get back to the room, Mark is laying on the bed. His eyes are closed, just trying to rest. But when you open the door, you see him, kind of like sit up and wince a little bit and look over in your direction. Y'all find what you were looking for?
Geneva?
Did we lose her? Oh, she's BRB.
Dag.
Actually, Sonia, are you listening? I got a nurse question. Or a medical question.
She listens, but I'm not sure if she's available to actually talk.
Yeah, I was waiting for a text here. Let me I'll just message her. Oh, she's talking.
Oh, yeah.
Would you put like Vaseline or something on like an open sore or like an open how would
Not
you
Vaseline.
treat like an open sore like that?
Vaseline's actually not a terrible idea. Because you want to seal it, right? You just have to properly wash it first.
Right, like especially on the face, because you can't put like bandages all over the guy's face. I mean, you could.
Yeah, we're
But
just going to do that. Let me
like,
look like
super
the
creepy.
mummy.
Okay, she's in the middle of treatment. Take your time. It was just more of a gee whiz thing for me, because normally I know what I'm talking about, and I don't in this case. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because
Hey,
the main thing
Geneva's
that you want to do is to seal the wound so that, it can't get infected.
Right.
Vaseline will do that, right?
I think so. If it's thick enough.
Yeah. Even if it's not particularly thick, as long as it's got like an even spread,
Yeah.
it's like air sealant or whatever you would call that.
Or
Air
duct
does
tape.
not pass through it. Yeah, or duct tape.
Duct tape solves everything.
Huh.
That
Yeah,
wouldn't look weird, right?
Seems so
Having a guy
thick.
with a duct taped face walking around.
Like no shit, like in like expedient environments where like you don't have access to like good medical care or like even good medical supplies, like two of the things they tell you to always carry are duct tape and tampons.
Yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense.
Tampons make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, for kits that you send to soldiers, they say send them tampons.
Yeah.
I actually just got a bunch of Tampax from CVS, so I just plugged all of Mark's holes in.
Beautiful. Yeah. Plug those bad boys up.
He's got a bunch of strings hanging out of his.
Oh god. Mark,
What
cut this.
is happening?
Doug, cut this out of the podcast episode. So if you get around to editing.
This is the gold that
This is the
we
gold.
worked all.
I like that. I like the idea that Doug is just gonna keep everything in, all the bullshit, all the
Yeah.
fart jokes.
You know what? Fuck it. Yeah. That's everybody else does it.
Mark is the human tampon now.
Before we get back into it, I forgot to tell y'all, 40,280 listens
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Whoa, dang.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
overall.
that's a lot.
Yeah, since we started. But anyway, Geneva, they were just talking about Mark and Cassie were talking about if you had found anything at the apartment or at the hotel.
Oh, they're inside the hotel room.
Yeah, yep, you're back at the room.
Cool. Is Michael there with us yet, or is he still out?
Michael is running surveillance detection right now, trying to see if he's being followed.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, we found something, but I'll wait for Michael to get back and we can talk about it.
You immediately get a text to your phone that says, "Not coming back. We'll text you location later."
She looks at her phone and is like, or we'll talk about it now, I guess.
And then he texts. There's another text that's like the first text was, "We've been made. Not coming back. We'll text you later." And then find another place to stay.
All right. Well, first things first is we need a new hotel.
What's wrong?
Apparently, Agent Vega is doing some surveillance, and he has confirmed your suspicion that we're being watched. I'll be honest, I don't know if finding a new hotel room will be helpful or not, depending on what exactly is following us and watching us. If it's not entirely human, it might not matter, but to be safe, maybe we go somewhere else.
Mark, are you up for it?
Oh yeah. No, I'm feeling fine. And he sits up and, wait, head rush. No, I'll be good.
Right. Well, we'll get a new room, a couple of rooms, and then just text Vega where we're at.
Yeah. So we're going to a different hotel, right?
Yeah, and we'll say it's relatively easy enough. How far away do you want to go? Are you like going down the street? Or are you, or is Michael the one finding in the hotel?
Well, Michael already found a hotel, and he would have texted Geneva the thing, but I think he would assume that she was, one, not going to bring everybody all in a single group, and two, like try and do some stuff too.
Got it. Okay. In that case, how far away did you want to find another, an alternate accommodation?
He would have literally just as soon as he felt like he wasn't being followed anymore, like the first hotel he came across.
Got it. Okay. So we'll say, I mean, in that time, you could have been walking a while. We'll say maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from the first hotel. And Geneva, if you're giving everybody instructions to make their own way there, everyone will have to make individual stealth rolls.
Oh, gotcha.
Would I be able to help with Mark's, or Mark would help me with mine, or?
Not really, because it's kind of because especially if you're solo, if you're flying solo, if you're going together, you would have to articulate how you're helping them be stealthier, or how you're helping them evade detection. But we could roll with it for sure.
Well, at least with Mark, I've given him the hoodie so that he has something to kind of conceal his appearance. And for Cassie, just kind of make my hair, which is already very long and stringy, kind of cover my face as much as possible. And I mean, I'm also used to I'm used to evading certain authorities if necessary.
Okay.
Given the past few years of my existence. Okay. So I don't know if that would help. But.
Well, I should probably ask what marching orders Geneva gives.
I think she'll have the other two go first. She will leave last.
That's hard because I kind of feel like she wants to almost keep an eye on them as much as she doesn't want to be seen.
What's your stealth rating?
Not great. It's the default. It's 10. I almost put points into that, but then I did not.
Okay.
I did the same thing and deeply regret it.
How about criminology? What's your criminology at?
That I know is better. That is 70.
Okay. In that case, what I will say is, you might consider like counter surveillance. So kind of let them go ahead and then you tail them to see if anybody's tailing the two of them.
Perfect. I will do that.
Okay.
But now, I mean, Mark's not walking 1.5 miles.
He may not be. So yeah, do you all just want to take an Uber?
Sure. Whatever Geneva kind of points us in the direction towards.
I mean, driving from that hotel directly to this one is like, it's just going to make the fact that we got a new hotel completely irrelevant.
Yeah, she would recommend walking, but it's completely because I know Mark maybe can't.
Well, Cassandra, knowing that, then we'll just be like, Mark, I need you to just tough this out, okay?
You know what, Mark? Roll con times 5.
All right. Hey, that's not too bad.
Hell yeah. Yeah, with a 49 out of 75, you've got the wherewithal and you've got the constitution to kind of push through, muscle through this.
Yeah, I can do this.
I mean, I guess technically that would be willpower, but we'll roll with it.
All right, come on, let's go.
All right, Mark is going to. So the two of us are going ahead. We're not very stealthy.
Right. Yeah. Who's got the higher stealth rating?
I've got 15.
Oh, she does.
Go ahead and roll stealth.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. 64 to 15. So in this case, Geneva roll stealth and then roll alertness.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Got one.
Okay. So yeah, with a 65 out of 10 on your stealth, you're kind of looking at them and you're like, man, they really don't know what they're doing. What's funny is What's funny is you're not that great at it either. But with that 67 out of 70, you are confident in that there's nobody. Like, they are so obvious that it wouldn't be hard to monitor them and be stealthy about it. But you feel like you've got a good enough eye on the local terrain and the people around you that you're fairly confident that nobody's on you or on them.
Perfect. Yep, I'll just follow behind.
Y'all are fucked with these low-ass stealth scores, man. Shit.
I know. I'm starting to think maybe I should have put some points there.
Same. And I had a bunch. Well, I tried to do a different build to Ira, and Ira had a really, really good stealth score. So I was like, oh, I'll leave the like stealthing and physical stuff to someone else, and I'll just make like a research nerd.
Ruh-roh.
I was just like, I want to know. I want to be good at guns. That was what I was doing. So I was like, I don't need
Love
stealth. I have a gun. And then I was like, oh, nope.
Love it. But you do eventually arrive at the hotel that Michael has secured. We'll say you went from like a Holiday Inn to a Best Western. It's, chain to chain, fairly nondescript, and you will reconvene there.
And just to be safe, I am going to extend our stay at the original hotel as well.
Okay.
And then make sure that the names that we have under this one are different, just for like extra precaution.
Well, how are you paying for them? Because very few hotels operate on a cash basis
that's
anymore.
Right.
You could find one, but you're going to catch something when you stay there.
I kind of figured we would have just paid with credit cards. We never would have thought not to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
before, for sure.
You really have no reason to, like, apart from the guys with the gas masks showing up, you really have no reason to believe you're being, like, tailed by anybody.
Yeah, and the hotel that we originally stayed at where we paid for the room, Michael would have paid for that with his credit card because that was before the gas mask people.
Okay.
He also probably would have bought the cigarettes with his credit card as well.
Got it.
Or his... Do you guys...
Debit
Yeah,
card.
y'all don't really use debit cards that...
Oh, yeah. No, we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like the number one way anybody pays for anything anymore.
Yeah, same. In Canada, definitely. I don't know. We always got a lot of American customers who would pay with Visa cards instead of like straight debit cards. But
Gotcha. Okay.
Probably like travel points.
My specifically, my credit card gives a better foreign currency conversion than my bank.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've because when I've traveled internationally, I've looked that up and said, oh, I should stop doing that. And it's actually much better for me to just pay with cash.
That's good to know. So who's paying? So who paid for the rooms? So just so I'm tracking, who paid for the rooms at the first hotel?
Mark would have paid. I think we would have paid separately because we checked in separately.
Got it. Okay.
So Mark would have paid, and yeah, probably would have used his credit card there. When we go to the next one.
Yeah, Geneva will get it for everyone at the next one.
Got it. Okay.
It's like intentionally trying to create kind of like a confusing thing if anyone was going through the effort. She's honestly more worried about the program tracking their cards and being like, oh shit, they're back. And so that's why she's trying to create like a little bit of confusion as to where exactly they might be staying in case anyone's looking that up.
Why would she be worried about the program?
We have to talk. We gotta talk.
Since you're paying for everybody's room, go ahead and make an int ×5 or accounting test.
Oh, that's right. I forgot those things exist.
Yeah, because like if it was just your own, it'd be different. But since you're paying for everybody's, just go ahead and make that roll.
That's true. Okay, what's better?
And is this at the hotel where Michael went?
Correct.
He probably would have tried to, like, not to take it away from me or anything, Cami, but
No,
since he was the first one that went there, he likely would have
Got it. Okay.
been the one to do it, right?
Yeah. So in that case, you can make that roll, Michael.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you, Cami?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They probably know each other well enough to know that that's whoever gets there first grabs it.
That's fair. Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh my god, I thought I put points in accounting and I didn't.
You have it in intelligence, though, right?
Damn it.
5?
Yeah. Hey,
Nice.
there we go.
Yeah, with a 24 out of 55, you definitely have the credit available to take care of everybody's rooms. So everybody's rooms are secured.
Sweet.
So yeah, you all make your way up to, I assume, Michael's room since he got there first.
Yeah, I'll just go knock on the door of the room he gave us.
Yeah, I'll follow.
He opens the door, and you notice that he has his gun down by his hip when he does so.
I don't think anyone followed us. I think we're good for right now.
Yeah, me neither. Both of our stealth rolls were really good.
Yeah, no one saw me ever. I saw them, though. They need some work.
We've been made. The people Cassandra was talking about, I saw them.
Gas masks, she said?
Oddly enough, yeah.
Are we in the same room?
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys all would have
Okay,
come in,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
People in gas masks in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Doesn't sound... Well, I know how it sounds. That's why I went to double check, but turns out she was right.
All right.
You're
well,
welcome.
I'm not sure what all the cloak and dagger is for. I have a feeling that they can find us no matter what.
That's a hell of an assumption. And maybe they can, but if they can't, making sure that they won't is a good idea.
All right, fine, sure, but I'm just saying. I'm not sure that this should prevent us from doing something that needs to be done, because
Nothing's going to prevent us from doing what needs to be done. This was just a precaution. And also, Cassandra, here's your cigarettes. I bought them for you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
What is it that you think needs to be done, Mark?
well, I got a list. I think we should deal with this Dr. Barbas.
I agree.
He's a vector at this point. He needs to be taken out. Apparently, he seems to have a pattern when it comes to Delta Green agents. Whether he's targeting us for some specific reason or just because he's been connected to our agency in the past, I don't know, but he needs to be removed.
Is it worth trying to find out why?
No. I think that will just lead us further down the wormhole than we need to go.
I agree. We shouldn't give him any opportunity to slip away. If he knows we're coming, he'll have the opportunity to escape.
Okay.
Do y'all know how to find him?
We know where his house is.
Oh, well. All right. We saw his car, and we met him at a restaurant that I have a feeling he's used before, but his house is better. That's better.
Yeah. Well, who knows if he's still there or not, but at least it's somewhere to start.
Was that your mission, to track him down?
Michael looks at Geneva.
We were asked to investigate him. The restaurant, was it the Gateway Bridges?
Yep.
Yes.
We were there.
And 2 months ago, I mean, how long before you left did you visit him, or did you meet with him?
We tailed him outside that restaurant towards the end of June. Later, we returned to the Boxer Hotel in the following days. We
Broke into his house early July, which is when we discovered his connection to Emmett Mosby. And after that, it gets fuzzy.
Where were you taken from? Were you taken from his house?
Honestly, I don't entirely recall. It's fuzzy. I think we left the house, but I don't recall if we had gone to Dorchester, if we were at a hotel and they came to us. I don't recall.
Well, just so you know, you were at that restaurant, the Gateway Bridges. We found napkins from the Gateway Bridges in in the night floors. They had.
It was actually Abigail's apartment.
Oh, it was at Abigail's apartment.
Yeah.
But I mean, we found napkins from the Gateway Bridges in the apartment of an apparent victim of the night floors. And they had drawings on them that were decidedly unnatural. We didn't realize this until we walked into the restaurant 20 years later.
I mean, should we be contacting someone? I know this is the usual way is just to handle it, but this is a lot. This is really big. Should we tell someone? What if we die? What if we go to that, I don't know, the night floors and we don't come back?
Calling our handler is an option. I want to be 100% clear that suspicion will fall on us. We might be taken in for questioning. We might be assumed vectors. You and I have been missing for 2 months. The two of you accepted a job from someone entirely out of the program, which is a giant-ass red flag. We can contact them and inform them and let them know what's happening so then they can send in another team to try and deal with this, but we should assume that they're not going to be happy with any of us.
The agents who went missing from Dorchester, they were agents. They send anyone else out, it's just going to be the same thing.
That's the problem, is none of them told anyone anything. So they just disappear and then they send more people, and those people don't know. They're walking into something and they don't understand. We have information now. And if we, I don't know. I don't want to, if we get disappeared, if something happens to us, at least then someone will know.
I think those agents probably had information too. And that's what got them wherever they ended up, whether it was the night floors or somewhere else.
Did you have that information? Did you walk into Dorchester House knowing it was a fucking trap? No, none of us did, or else we wouldn't have gone there.
I feel like we should have known though.
But we didn't, and we could have.
Well, not you two specifically. And Cassandra turns towards Mark. And we're here for a reason. We got brought back for a reason.
I'm just afraid that it was the program that sent them there to keep them quiet, cover up whatever they knew.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, how many times did we say when we were in there that we were looking at our future?
That's the case? We're fucked, guys. Like royally fucked. Like
Well,
no way out fucked.
If there's no way out, then we end what we stop what we can. We go see this Barbas. We take him out. We find
It
out.
doesn't make. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
I'm gonna say it doesn't make sense that they would assign our team to investigate Barbas if Barbas was integral to their agent retiree program. There is something going on that I think perhaps they know, but I also think there is a huge motherfucking blind spot here, which is why agents keep disappearing. I mean, look, I know that the agency is good at covering our tracks, and sometimes that means people get retired earlier than they planned in their career. But I don't think that means intentionally handing them over to some demon or king in yellow or whatever the hell thing is going on here. It wouldn't intentionally feed agents to something like that.
According to
And-
Barbas, it was the agency that sent them there. Of course, maybe he was lying.
But yeah, Barbas, I would not take anything that he says as truth.
When Geneva mentioned King in Yellow, Cassandra starts to drift off for a bit before reaching into her back pocket, to pull out the book again. And I want to just flip through again, just to see if, and I don't know if there's a search roll I can do to see if there's any name in there that I recognize.
You'd have to do a full read through. You'd have
Okay.
to take
Fair
an
enough.
hour to read the thing.
Fair
Yeah.
Well, in that case, feeling that everything's connected and paranoid about everything, she's just going to, as they're talking, start to rip out pages from the book, start to just tear them up, grouping them up into bunches and just tearing them up into pieces before, like, it's just a, leather cover and, torn spine and all that. Just trying to demolish it as best as she can.
Okay.
And then she's going to go ahead and take up one of the trash bins and just throw it in there. And I assume that I would have gotten a pack of matches at least, if not a lighter, with my pack
Sure.
of cigarettes.
Yeah, cheap Bic lighter. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm going to light a bunch of the pages on fire and then just put everything in the trash bin on fire, and then use something to cover it up, whether it's just like a... what would I use to cover up?
You could do it in the toilet. Toilet would probably be better.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, I'll flush the pages then as they're talking.
I mean, I get the impulse, but starting a fire in a hotel room is yeah. What are we gonna do?
I think we finish what we came here to do, and then we call our handler. We take out Barbas, and we give our handler a call. What you two want to do, I'll leave that up to you, but that's where I'm at.
Okay. You know,
Mark- Oh God.
okay. You know, I got your back.
We're
I still
clearly
think
in
we
this
should-
together now. I don't know if you two get it yet, but whatever forces are at work are putting us together. I mean, the fact that we saw you 20 years ago screaming on a gurney, strapped to it, being thrown into some fucking dark abyss.
I'm sorry, me?
Yes, you.
That's what you saw.
Yes, we saw you. Your face. Your screaming face.
Hmm.
Complete with
I
that
think that's-
mustache.
That beautiful dash.
That's
Oh,
beautiful, thick stash.
I can never forget that dash. But what I think that's the first time you actually said what it was that you saw. Like, you were like, "Oh, we saw you on the night floors or whatever." But I don't think you previously mentioned that he was like strapped to a gurney,
They did say.
screaming, getting fed into the mouth of hell.
Oh yeah. I don't know what they. Yeah.
Because I know, Vince, you said that I had the feeling of straps on me or whatever, and I could see
Yeah.
people in the distance. But I think
Yep.
that's the first time that he's been kind of completely told.
Yeah. Roll sanity check.
Oh, okay, cool. Talked myself into that one.
There you good. Look at you.
Mm.
Party.
Maybe that'll be my mission for this
Jesus.
this run. It's to see how many sanity checks I can talk into Vince letting me make.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a 95 out of 51, you lose one. As again, you're kind of drawn back to that moment, and this must have happened to you, and it's disturbing that you can't remember it.
I think the days of you acting as your own agents are over. And even if you wanted to, we can't. The forces that are at work here, we can't stop yet. We don't even comprehend what they're doing. They're just going to keep doing it.
I appreciate the call for camaraderie. My point was more that I don't know if you two realize just how much you fucked up. And while Agent Vega and I might be taken in for questioning,
She kind of just like trails off there and looks at you both very seriously.
so when I
worry.
say it's up to you what you want to do, that is me giving you the only option of an out that I feel I am allowed to do.
Thank you for the reminder. There is no out from this, though.
Yeah, you know what they say. Only way out is through.
And you
Where did
do.
you hear that?
Yeah, I was going to
What do
say
you-
is when he says that, you remember the letter that you were given by the Clockwork
yeah.
Child.
What do you mean, where did I hear that? It's an incredibly common. The only way out is through. People say that all the time, right?
I want to human it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, 60 out of 84. He's telling. He seems honest. He seems genuine.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
a super common saying.
Well, that's no. Somebody else said that to us. Few people actually. Didn't Bale say that to us also?
I believe he did.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
It was either him or Whist. One of the two.
Yep.
But it was on Whist's note, wasn't it?
No, it was on the note that you received this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From Abigail.
Do you show them that?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, nothing is
You
true.
got it. So,
Nothing is true except out is through. That's what the note said.
Yeah, I mean, Geneva will ask, like, who told you that recently?
So it
So-
was, I think it was this Bale guy. He let us out of the place. And before he did, he said to us, the only way out is through.
Yeah, it's a really common saying.
Okay. All right.
I don't find coincidences to be just those anymore, though. The note that was given I guess you'd say, invitation. It was from Abby, and she ended it with that phrase. And at this point, Cassandra will start to pull out the letter. Nothing is true except out is through.
And you do notice it is on Hotel Broadalbin stationery.
And yeah, at this point, I'll hand it over to Michael and Geneva.
Does
I'll
that saying
I'll show it to
spark
everybody.
of? Oh, sweet. Does that saying spark a feeling at all?
No.
No.
And Cassie, as you say this, and as you talk about this, and as you put your eyes on this note again, you are filled with this perfect certainty. If you do not find the bottle of the author of The King in Yellow, travel to the palace in Carcosa and find Abigail right there. You, all of you, the four of you in that room, will become ghosts haunting the night world forever. Nothing is true except out is through. I need you to roll sanity.
Yeah, cool. Wow, okay.
With a 21 out of
Not
30.
expecting that.
I was not either.
Neither was I.
Beautiful. So you lose 0 sanity.
And when that happens too, there's a moment where, as they're looking over the note, Mark, you'd probably see it closest, but you start to see that Cassandra's starting to fidget in place, like trying to adjust herself, and then she starts to reach around, rifle through her back pocket, and
It's gone, Cassie.
she pulls out a red leather book with the symbol of the King in Yellow on it.
You tore that up.
Those pages are in the toilet right now.
Fuck.
Everybody roll sanity.
Yeah.
Wait.
And that was Michael saying fucking laughing, by the way. Not well, I mean, also me too, because fuck, but.
Ooh.
All right.
Come on, man.
You are hemorrhaging sanity, man. Holy cow.
I
You're back at
know.
that
Leaking
fucking
it.
meat you wanted about.
Honestly, this is I'm almost at the number where I was like, that was pretty low.
Yeah.
Again, I like this might be, if this keeps happening, this might be my most short-lived character yet.
Yeah. Cassie with a 54 out of 30, you lose 1. Geneva with a 24 out of 55, you lose nothing. Mark with a 22 out of 66, you lose nothing. And Michael with a 71 out of 50, you lose 1.
I'm just going to say I really hope we don't have to do another one of those.
Are you 1 away from your breaking point again?
No, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
No, I'd be thrilled if I went over again.
Totally. Yeah.
So let me get this straight. We saw Cassie tear the pages out of that thing and flush them down the toilet, and now it's back?
Yep. Or she may have had more than one. You don't know.
Cassie, what's going on here? Is this some kind of trick?
Cassandra opens up the book to see if there's any credits, to see if there's like an author or like any kind of like printing information.
There is not. No publisher, no trademark, no like Library of Congress information, nothing like that. It literally is. There's a title page, The King in Yellow, and then the play.
Okay, so there's not even like a breakdown of the acts or anything like that.
Yeah, like a table of contents kind of deal.
Yeah, like Act 1, da da da, Act 2,
Yep.
da da da.
There is indeed.
Okay. What are the names of the acts?
So with these, that's a great question because nobody's ever written The King in Yellow like completely. Let's do this. So you look through and some of the acts, it's very fuzzy. A volume of secret faces, the repairer of reputations, like a map made of skin, the stage, the dragon, and the clown. Just all these different act titles, and none of it makes sense. And you look through, and it would take you more to dig through it, but those are some of the ones that immediately jump out at you.
I mean, especially the clown, the dragon one. But I'll tuck it away into my pocket again. And we have to find who wrote this. If we don't find who wrote this, we're just going to end up like the others.
Cassie, what the heck? I saw you tear that thing up. Was it a trick? What?
No. And Cassie starts to tear out the pages again in front of all three of them, tearing them up into as tiny pieces as she possibly can, and then gathers all the kind of scraps up into a ball, leaving behind the empty cover, just throwing all the pages into the toilet and flushing again.
You know what's going to happen next. You're doing this to yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, totally.
And then, she comes back, and I guess when she comes back, no one would have noticed it, but the pages are there. Back in the book.
Well, so what I will say is that book is empty and torn up, but there's another one in your pocket.
Oh, perfectly, even better. So she comes out of the toilet and notices that there's the empty cover. But as she's looking at you, Mark, and the others in the book, the empty book cover, you see she starts to suddenly feel down on her back pocket again. And you see this look of not surprise, but distress.
Michael's going to sit down on the bed and put his head in his hands and go, we're so fucked.
And Mark, she is glowing brighter than she ever has at this point.
Yeah. Hey guys, remember how I told you that y'all were glowing? It's getting worse.
Where do we go now? Do we find him?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, if we help you guys, do you think you can help us?
Depends on what you're asking help with.
Well, what if we were never here?
That's not possible.
Why not?
Because as of right now, I don't know if I can trust the two of you to just go on and live your lives as if this didn't happen, because it did happen and something is clearly following you. And you're over here invoking demonic names. You are covered in what could potentially be some kind of infection. Just pretending like none of this ever happened is not possible.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah?
As Geneva's talking, you almost instinctively squint because there is this glow that is just, it almost brighter than Cassie, just as bright as the book even. It almost washes out everything else. And you turn to look and it's coming from the TV.
Hang on. What's on the TV?
Nothing yet.
What do you mean there's nothing on the TV?
It's glowing too.
Is it just glowing?
Mark walks over and turns on the TV.
There is a news report story that 4 inmates from the Dorchester House psychiatric facility have escaped and are believed to be armed and dangerous. One by one, your pictures, all 4 of you, flash across the screen. Everyone roll alertness for me.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you all succeed. Mark with a 32 out of 70, Geneva with a 26 out of 70, Cassie with a 24 out of 50, and Michael with a 26 out of 80. Yeah, these are pictures you don't remember ever taking. It's a photo of each of you standing with an empty expression, wearing normal clothes. But one thing you notice is that each of you appears to be carrying an object like a bottle, cut off by the cropping of the photograph. You don't remember taking that picture, but it appears entirely real and entirely recent. I need everybody to roll sand.
Man, I was 100% convinced you were going to be like, you all hear sirens.
Oh.
Whoa,
Jack.
Let's go.
No, I finally did one.
Yeah. Okay. So Mark with a 92 out of 66, Cassie with a 100 out of 29, Michael with a 17 out of 49, Geneva with a 7 out of 55. Michael and Geneva, you're good. Mark and Cassie, you both lose 1.
Have we
Only one
ever,
with a fumble? Damn.
Yep.
Have we ever had a 100 on a sanity check before?
I don't believe so.
That's wild.
Yeah. But as the news report continues, it makes it clear in no uncertain terms that you are dangerous, violent, mentally ill patients. And Dr. Dallin even appears on the screen, advising anyone who comes into contact with you to keep their distance and contact their nearest law enforcement agency. You all are wanted. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Oh, man.
Gotta say, I didn't see that coming.
Thank you for listening to Delta Green Impossible Landscapes, part of the Black Project Gaming podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to visit blackprojectgaming.com for previous Delta Green episodes. You can also listen to our ongoing Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Barovia, California campaigns. If you'd like updates on all future releases, please follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Until next time, I'm Vince, your host and handler, with Brett as DEA Special Agent Michael Witwer, also known as Agent Vega, Cami as FBI Special Agent Geneva Brown, also known as Agent Venus, Doug as FBI Special Agent Mark Hansom, also known as Agent Meshach, and Jack as FBI Special Agent Cassandra Troy, also known as Agent Madison. Thank you again, and remember, we'll be seeing you.